When it comes to buying a new bike, there's a million and one different things to choose from. You've got drivetrain, you've got wheels, and you've got, of course, the big one, material.
Yeah, carbon or aluminium are the two most popular choices for bike frames, so it can be confusing. There's pros and cons for both, but today we're going to talk you through those because we've got two very similar bikes, one in carbon, one in aluminium.
So let's kick things off with price then first, Neil. Now, there's a few reasons why carbon is more expensive than aluminium. Manufacturing processes and raw materials do cost more.
Yeah, carbon frames are built in very expensive moulds and they need a different one for every size of the frame they make as well. But a great way to check the disparity in price is to check a brand that has the same build but one in a carbon version and one in aluminium.
Take this Orbea or Alma, for example. They make an aluminium version called the H20 and it retails for £1,400 British. The exact bike, same spec and everything, just except for the rear mech, but built onto a carbon frame, retails for £2,200. That's an £800 price difference, and this is on a hardtail.
If we were to look at full suspension comparisons, then that price difference can seem more varied. In some cases it grows to well over £1,000, but in others it shrinks. For example, the Propane Tyee top-end carbon is around the £8,244 mark, yet the identical aluminium version is only £600 cheaper at £7,644.
Let's dive into it even further then, Neil. Say you had about £3,000. Now, for that money, you could get a carbon frame with some lower spec parts or an aluminium frame but with top-end spec parts.
Then the question becomes, of course, do you value the so-called high-end material of carbon, or do you value the components more? And the question is, can you feel the difference in carbon and aluminium frames on the trail?
The next one is a bit of a tricky subject, and it's comfort. Is one more comfortable than the other? It is, of course, a really hard thing to try and prove because there's just so many variables. Cockpit setup, tyres, wheels, pressures, suspension, all alter the comfort of a bike. So narrowing it down to a material makes it very tricky.
Well, Rich, we've got very similar bikes. In a perfect world, we would have lined it up so we had exactly the same bikes with Canyon, with different build. But tell us about your bike.
Well, yes, it's not a perfect world, sadly, but I've got the Canyon Spectral 125 CF9 edition. This is full carbon, carbon wheels, carbon bars, carbon cranks. Now, this currently is 4,289 British pounds and weighs 13.75 kilograms.
Okay, whereas I am riding the Spectral 29er, the Fabio Wimner limited edition. It's a cheaper build. It comes in at 2,999. Is that right? Is that too many nines? Almost £3,000, and it weighs 15.3 kilograms. Aluminium frame and wheels. It does have carbon bars.
Okay, so just shy of 1,300 quid cheaper.
Yeah.
About 1.5 kilos heavier.
A little bit heavier,
okay.
Yeah. Before we head out and ride these bikes, let's dig into a few more of the technical properties of both of them.
Carbon bikes can have some great comfort advantages over their metal counterparts by actually absorbing small bumps and shocks and vibrations within the ground. And frame builders do this by building in a certain amount of flex within the frame. And a great example of this is sort of the current crop of XC bikes, where they have flex stays instead of pivots. That's essentially the frame moving instead of rotating around a pivot.
Well, I did a video on this recently. Carbon fibre is often seen as the stiffer material, whereas aluminium offers more flex and compliance. And actually, I looked at the top World Cup downhill races to see what they rode. Turns out, in conclusion, that a lot of downhill races, if they're riding a carbon fibre frame, then they'll run the aluminium rims to get some compliance there, and vice versa. If they've got carbon rims, then they'll pretty much always ride an aluminium frame. The only people that didn't do that is the Santa Cruz team, who ride carbon frame and wheels. So flex can be designed in, whether carbon or aluminium, but can you actually feel it out on the trail? I think maybe only more experienced riders who've ridden lots of different bikes can feel some difference, but I think it's more apparent on hardtails. Aluminium hardtails are sturdy, built for probably playful riding, whereas carbon hardtails are light and fast and probably better for cross-country riding. Cross-country bikes are all about efficiency, weight and speed, and this is where carbon can excel. As frames can be made more rigid, this allows more power to be transferred through the cranks and therefore more efficient. Just remember, that's not always a good thing.
All right, Neil, let's talk about weight. Now, there's a bit of a clear winner here in the form of carbon, right?
Yeah, there's a pretty decent chunk of difference between our two bikes, but obviously that includes the components as well.
Yes. Now, if you were to narrow it down to just a frame, when it comes to a hardtail, you're looking at about a 200 to 300 gram difference. So if we scale that up to a full Sus, then that becomes a little bit of a bigger difference, if you like. It's 600 to 800 grams.
But I guess same as kind of the flex and stiffness argument, lightweight doesn't mean everything. What you gain in sort of climbing efficiency, you may lose in build strength, but also less momentum.
If a manufacturer was to build a frame as stiff as possible, yes, it might be fast, it might be efficient, and it might be very light, but it's going to be incredibly uncomfortable to ride, especially for long periods of time. You're going to feel every little bump, every vibration through that, and it can actually be really fatiguing. Manufacturers are able to change the thickness and the layup of the carbon in certain areas to actually tune just how stiff it is in certain parts and how much compliance there is as well.
On the other hand, aluminium in general could be less stiff but more durable, although stiffness can be designed in, much like carbon frames, with sort of the tube diameters and things like that. But what some people might say is less stiff could also be called more compliant. And these bikes will kind of flex in the ways that you do want to take out some of the roughness from the trail, as we saw in that downhill comparison when I'm looking at what they're using. So what material you use does come down to what type of riding you want to prioritise. So if you're a racer or a performance rider or a cross-country rider, then that carbon fibre weight to stiffness ratio probably plays into your favour. That might be a good choice for you. Whereas if you are a bit of a park rat, you enjoy a playful ride, then aluminium might suit your type of riding. Plus, if you factor in the cost and the durability, that might make the alloy bike a good choice. A good quality aluminium frame with lovely welds like that is durable and reliable. Rich, over to you for your side of the debate whilst I nip off and do some jumps.
All right, Neil, you crack on for a ride. You're not needed on this bit anyway. Now, whilst some would say that durability might be a weakness of carbon frames, and that obviously when they do sustain damage, it can be more permanent, that's not always the case. Let's talk fragility. Now, people think that carbon frames are more fragile than aluminium frames, and well, that's not the case anymore. Improved carbon layup, improved carbon itself, and better frame protection mean that actually they're absolutely fine. They're able to take big hits themselves. However, crash either one of those hard enough, and you're going to break the frame no matter what. It just takes different points to get there. Just bear in mind that not all carbon frames are created equal. The same brand might make two different carbon frames in slightly different versions, one being slightly better than the other, and that you pay for what you get. Cheaper frames may not be made to the same high standards that some premium frames are. However, that's not always the case. Durability can change up though, so the lifespan of a carbon frame can be about 20 years, providing it's not had any massive impacts or smashes or knocks or anything like that. Aluminium, on the other hand, about 5 to 10, but obviously this changes and is always changing as well when you think of the different materials being used and their manufacturing processes. The perks of aluminium, it has the potential to be recycled, whereas carbon, well, that's just going up in landfill.
All right, I think it's time to do a swap.
Ah, sick! Oh, it's so small. I mean, it is a very quiet, smooth ride, and I don't know if that's down to the carbon and this being aluminium.
Right, dropping into this sort of downhill trail, it's pretty smooth to begin with, and then it does get more techie rough, some kind of berms with compressions in them, so this is going to be quite interesting to see how the carbon bike feels.
Well, that was a bit of an eye-opener.
Well, we didn't ride for very long, but what are your first impressions of the aluminium bike?
Well, I'll be honest, it's been a fair while since I have ridden an aluminium bike progressively, actually.
Too pro nowadays.
I don't know about that. Maybe too much time on XC bikes, but it was an eye-opener. I really actually do think, and we'll take this with a pinch of salt because it's not quite the right size and stuff, obviously, but it was very quiet, it was smooth, it wasn't a fatiguing ride. I didn't feel exhausted riding it.
Yeah, it gets quite rough, that trail, and I love carbon. At the top, actually, this bike felt super responsive. When you're moving it around, it feels fast.
Yeah.
What you gain there, I think you lose. You don't lose, it just feels rougher in the rougher sections. I think, obviously, it's not as compliant. I think I'm with the downhillers when I sort of did that data thing. I think for kind of trail bike, like 140mm travel and above, I will go vice versa. If I've got a carbon frame, I like pairing them with aluminium rims. That's probably my favoured combo, to be fair.
Okay.
Whereas I think for like short travel bikes, 120 and below XC bikes, of course,
100%,
the more carbon, the better for those racers. But also I think for that kind of application of just day to day, I think it's good.
Weight and stiffness sort of reigns supreme there, doesn't
Yeah,
it,
I
really?
think so. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Are you carbon throughout? Are you aluminium throughout? Or are you not too sure and now a bit clearer maybe after this video?
I wonder if you think carbon is too expensive. Let us know in the comments down below and we'll try and jump in there and try and answer some of your questions while you've had them.
Yeah. See ya. Welcome back, everybody. Today's going to be a good day, and why is that, Blake?
Because we've got some questionable products that we've purchased off the internet. He's sounding sweet. God.
It's like a little happy dog. Did you hear that? Oh!
Actually, do you reckon we can get our money back?
No,
I think we can get our money back.
most of this is broken.
Returns. We're going to start off with this first product. As you saw, I had something in my hand that was telescopical. This, my friend, is the Rock Bros foldable mudguard. I don't think it folds, it's a telescopic.
Let me stop you a minute, because it's actually the Rock Bros Mudguard mountain bike foldable mudguards, wide and quick detachable bicycle mudguard set, 26 inches length and water retaining riding equipment.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
That was a long one. Take a look at this. So as soon as you get it out of the box, right, there's two in here.
Really?
So I'm guessing
Front
that's
and rear?
the front, and that's the rear, that's the front.
Okay.
Look at
and
that.
it comes in multiple colours.
Well,
There's a lot of hardware in the
I
bottom.
actually got I got all black because
Oh, yeah, stealthy.
yeah. Take a look at this.
Oh, Duncan!
Yeah, look at me. The thing is, if you are a person that actually is got OCD, it's scratched. Like you get your brand new product, you scratch it.
I think I broke it.
So the review on this, out of 5, is a 1 out of 5 star. It's weak and flimsy, and this product is cheap and nasty, lasted 5 minutes, literally. Riding over normal road speed bumps, the impacts snapped off the front mud guard. Oh. You've actually broken it.
Oh, I went to fold it back together.
They are weak and
I'm not
flimsy.
sure. We're going to go ride this on finale trails.
That's really rocky.
See how it lasts.
Drop it in!
The front one's so loose in there. It
Don't even fit, does it?
the front one's so loose in there. Yeah. Oh no, it's already dropped out. So it just started rattling and then she went. I think we can already say that that one is no good. It's like a little happy dog.
It's a happy Richard. Oh, engaged mudguards. Look at Richard's. Oh, it's broken. Yeah. Oh, mine's come off. Mine's come off.
There's a few issues, Blake. Oh, yours are gone.
Oh, mine's gone.
Both of them are gone. Did it come off on the jump?
Mine came off on the jump. Oh, come
Oh,
on.
look, mine's retracted, so it's catching less mud. I think we can say that the mudguards aren't up to scratch and the 1 star is very just. So
It is very just. They said it was flimsy. Lee said it was flimsy.
mine's going that way.
Mine's non-existent.
Right, on to the next one.
Now I have to read this. I have got these, well, they're fake leather. Okay, so first off, these are Request 1 pair bicycle handle grips, PU leather mountain bike, folding bicycle, cycling, double lock-on grips, bike accessory. It has a 1 customer rating of 1 star out of 5.
Whoa, that's low.
Features, it's got lock-ons. It's PU leather surface. PU. They stink. So it's fake leather. Groove grip design.
Where?
Comfortable groove grip design. There's no groove on there, is there?
Yeah, okay.
Mate, these are
And
ridiculous.
they're like fake sewn at the back or something?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good, but
What have
check
you
out
got?
this. Right. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is the MagT bike saddle, carbon fiber bike hollow seat saddle, breathable mountain bike saddle cycling replacement accessory for mountain road bicycle.
Okay, that's a slight mouthful.
Features made of quality ultra fine fiber leather, elastic, shock absorption, good riding, comfortable, durable, hollowed out design at the middle.
For
your bits, yeah. Makes cycling more breathable and comfortable. With scale at bottom bow, convenient to adjust. Chrome, I've never even seen that. Chrome molybdenum, steel suspension arch with carbon fiber and PU leather construction again.
Where's the aluminium there? I just see carbon.
This is suitable for mountain bike, road bike, bicycle, motocross.
BMX.
I'm assuming so. This has got a 1 out of 5 review as well, and this is from a guy called Benjamin. It just said, like the idea of a carbon saddle and shape of this product. Very disappointed with the build quality. Cracked and broke 8th time I used my bike. I'm 81 kilos and 185 centimeters. This is essentially me. That's
you.
me.
That's you.
Yeah. No refund or comeback after 30 days. Can't wait. Okay, so first problem, they're spaced too tight and it doesn't actually fit in the rail. If I put it in the rail one side, I've got to crush it to force it across, and that's not a good start, is it? Oh my God, you've got to like crush it down like that to make it stay where it should be. Oh. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I've seen worse looking saddles out there. Oh my days. It's actually quite wide for your butt. Like that's, like for me, I have wide sit bones, so that's actually pretty comfortable. It does, you can feel it flex a little though. Oh, it's don't go too far forwards, it's narrow. Oh, it wouldn't take much. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Oh, that's dangerous.
It's raining. Oh my goodness me, they are horrible now. Right, dropping in. Oh, so greasy. Oh. Right, rocky descent, squirted my hands with water to put them in a real life scenario where a bit sweaty palms, look super red. That's been digging in my hand. Like it said mountain bike, so you would think you can go mountain biking with them, but they're not very ergonomic at all for your hand. I guess if you had a beach cruiser or some sort of road bicycle, they would work better. But, well, I'd definitely give them a 1 out of 5. Right, let's go and find Rich. Let's go back to the bench. Rich, these are rubbish, dude. I don't agree. Like, it says mountain bike, and no, why would you wear them, like ride those on a mountain bike?
Yeah, no, you're right. This, on the other hand, not too shabby. I wouldn't say it was as rubbish as these. The shape's pretty good. I'm dubious about the carbon and the bonding. I'm going to put it in the slightly less rubbish pile.
Okay, it actually looks all right.
Like, the shape's okay.
If you were to do miles on it, I guess you get a really sore bump. It's quite wide, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and strength-wise, 50-50. But like you said, the stitching on these, not good.
No.
On to the next stuff.
Yeah, I got your choice. Watch this. We're at the table. I'm going to give you these.
What?
Spectacles. Now, I've seen loads of people riding these.
Yeah.
Our mates riding these.
Yeah, they
Safety
do.
glasses, right? How much are those?
These are £15
Yeah.
for 15 pairs.
That's £1.
So £1 a pair. They feel like £1 a pair. What have you got?
Well,
What's this?
So I got a good friend. It's his brother, actually, Sam Pilgrim's brother. And he rides in these safety gloves, but they are these.
Oh,
they're
like workwear?
Work pair of gloves, so you can have a pair of them.
Oh, and you can have a pair of those.
And these were £10 for a pair.
Right, I'll tell you a little bit about me, the spectacles we're going to be wearing.
Yep.
They've actually got an average of 3.9 out of 5 stars, these.
Okay.
So it's actually a lot higher than a lot of the stuff we've had on. We go through eye protection fast. This was a good cost-effective purchase to keep our eyes safe.
Yeah, that's true. That keeps your eyes.
Another one, poor quality, blurred vision through these glasses. And if you do look at like round the edges towards the middle, it's a bit wonky donkey. What about yours, buddy?
Well, for a start, you know, some riding gloves, you do have a point where you have to take your glove off to look at your mobile phone if you're looking at some navigational things. These ones have a touch screen glove. Look at that. It's actually working. Look. Like that. Like I said, it's £10.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 4.6 rating out of 5. They are bamboo gloves, so they're quite, you know, friendly to the world.
Well, look, I think we need to go for a proper ride on these, don't
Yeah.
we? I'm intrigued.
Breathable is a key thing because it's hot out, yeah?
Don't forget your glasses.
Oh, yeah. Where are they?
There.
Yeah.
Look at me. Do they protect your eyes?
Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, that was...
Quite vigorous. Oh!
Wow. They are blurred. Oh, they are blurry.
Yeah,
They're really
they are, right?
fuzzy.
And you look like a
Guy,
sports person from the 80s.
Right, let's go and
Let's
try.
go riding. Held it.
Saved, Rich. Saved.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a big rock. You flicked up the biggest rock.
Did I?
Yeah, I'm glad I was wearing glasses, but you know, there's a point where safety first on a trail.
Do you know one thing? I did a manual on that, and I noticed that my finger just moved around in the glove, so I was trying to pull the
lever.
brake. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the pile and see where we're gonna put him.
What are we thinking?
I think they go over there, they're not crap. I would say the glasses are super budget.
Pound.
Pound.
If you're on a budget, they
Yeah.
work, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Gloves? Same.
Same, they work, but a little tip, right? Because I went for a large, I guess if you were gonna buy these, if you like we say on a budget, I would go a size smaller. Make them a
Agreed.
bit tighter.
Good shout. Yeah, definitely. Hey,
Yeah.
can't knock it. That's 11 quid's worth of protection right there.
Exactly, and not
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Next stuff.
Rich, there we go. Look at this. This is the
God.
Fisher bicycle exhaust pipe, bicycle turbo exhaust pipe, motorcycle sound system, turbo spoke exhaust system, bicycle exhaust loud system, spoke sound maker card, cycling kit for children.
And adults now.
That's how I want kids anyway.
What's the reviews on this one?
No reviews.
None.
And it just said, just durable. We got some sticker kits.
Can I put this on my 350 after?
I was going to say, imagine getting an FMF sticker for that.
Oh my
Don't even
God.
work.
I mean, hey Blake,
Hey, Rich.
should we do it?
Yeah.
Give me a fist bump.
Ah!
It sounded like my old Susie.
Look at the state of it. Run, run, run,
How did you
run,
manage
run.
to get that to fit?
I just jammed it on, Rich.
I've actually gone for all of the flames for maximum speed. I've gone for a 350F tune, so it's similar to my KTM back home. I'll know the handling of the power and sort of just how it's going to work.
I reckon you can hear us coming down the trail for sure with these. We're just saying, I don't think these things are going to last very long on the bike going down some rough terrain. She's sounding sweet, purring. Yeah! Oh, that's actually really fun.
I thought it, oh, it was close.
Oh, it's back. I think that's a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Oh, it's broken. Hang on.
I've got a misfire.
I like that a lot.
I like it a lot.
I used to do when I was a kid, putting card and
cards.
stuff in the spokes and making motorbike noises and stuff. That, stay in there.
I think I'm going to upgrade it to the definitely worthwhile pile.
100% definitely
That
worthwhile.
one, even just for like some giggles for just a run.
Yep.
That's good fun,
5
right?
out of 5 for that.
We got like another one to end on, right? A big one.
Yeah, this one's
ridiculous.
This one's silly. Should we go to the table?
To the table.
Oh my gosh, look at it.
It's massive.
Like, what is it?
Why are there 2 parts to it?
Well, it's more than 2 parts. It's got its own suspension, dude.
Look how thick it is.
Oh, mate. It's going to be comfy, though.
It looks like it'd be a good ride.
This is a saddle.
Blake, this is, of course, the WZ-YD-TH comfortable bike seat, shock-absorbing, memory foam, bicycle seat, backrest support, PU leather, cover, universal bike accessory parts.
Or, in short, the Jingping. Jingping.
It's got a flipping backrest.
But look what's underneath. Look at it.
It's sprung.
It's sprung.
It's about 3-inch thick almost.
Mate, it's 3-inch girth and it's about 12 inches long.
Do you want to hear what people said?
Yeah.
Avoid.
Okay, yeah. Oh.
One out of 5, avoid. The seat isn't comfortable, the backrest is too tiny, and it feels like it's pushing you off the bike seat. Wasn't worth the wait and isn't worth sending it back. Avoid at all costs.
Go on then.
Thanks, mate.
You love your enduro long riding.
You're an idiot.
That is going to work for you.
First impressions of the Jingpin. It certainly raises up the height of things. I'm not sure maneuverability is going to be improved. Comfort, well, I'm hoping will be. Look how thick it is. I mean, oh my God, it's a good job I'm you just kind of sit in there. Hop aboard, bud.
The Jingping.
Do you want a hand up on the line?
How to get...
Yeah, exactly. It's so high.
Oh, dude.
It's so comfy.
It is comfy.
Very squishy.
Yeah, it's good for your butt bones.
Yeah, now sit back in the old Jingpin.
It bends.
Yeah, big flex.
Like you got a cigar or a pipe.
Yeah, and a flat cap.
Yeah.
They see me rolling.
They hate it. Oh, suicides.
Yeah, I mean, it is suicide using it.
Okay, go and have a go on it, because
I think it's going to be mental on the trail.
I think it's going to
like
fall
trying
off.
to move around and stuff.
I think it's going to fall off.
Hang on. See ya!
I'm going to follow you
All
down.
right, come on, let's go. Initial reaction on the uphill. The backrest is kind of irrelevant because you're still so far over the front of the bike. It's just doing nothing. And also, because you then sit on the nose, even though you adjust the angle, the foam's so soft, you just slide off the front. Absolute death trap. And action.
Have you seen that on Instagram?
Yeah.
It's really funny. Now, Rich, we're at back of the table, and you've just done that.
The Jingpin.
The
Not
Jingpin.
fun.
It looked like it was going to ping you over the butt.
Dreadful. That's why the backrest is bent, because I couldn't get my butt back enough. And then towards the end, it was like burp, burp. Yeah. I mean, we got a good, the bad, and the ugly pile, right?
So where were you going to put that?
It's going in
It's
ugly.
I would say straight in the ugly.
Straight.
I was messing around over there. I don't even want to go down there. Disgusting.
Dreadful.
So there we have it. A few products that you can buy off Amazon at a budget that are kind of really good, like the gloves and
The glasses.
and the saddle.
That's just fun, right?
That's incredible. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But you know
The grips, the foldy.
sometimes it pays to get
pay.
something a bit better than this.
Yeah,
Exactly. It pays to
I
pay.
know.
Buy cheap, buy twice.
Let us know if you'd like us to have a go on any more questionable parts, should we say.
Yeah.
Comments are down below, aren't they? That's
Please.
where they can know. Like and subscribe, because, well, it's just cool, isn't it?
Yeah, like if you like any of these products.
And
if
let
you
us
run
know which
some of
is your
these.
favourite, yes. Right, well, we're out of here. See ya!
See ya!
Who's got my erg on saddle, just out of interest?
It's over there. I put it over there. I put it over there.
I put it. Where'd you put it?
Over there.
How you put it over there?
I put it over there.
How you put it over there?
I put it over there.
Thanks for putting it over there.
Where's my banana? Over there.
Put it over there.
My banana's over
You
there.
put it over there.
I put it over there.
You put it over there.
I put it over there.
You put it over there.
I put it over there.
Why'd you put it over there?
Because I put it over there because I was going over there to put it over there.
Oh, so you put it over there when you went over there to put it over there?
To put it over there.
Oh, so we put it over there when we put it over there.
I wondered if we should put it over there. I think I'm going to bring it over here to put it over there.
Okay, but you've already put it over there, so why put it
here? Over there. I should do it again. Put it over there.
Yeah, put it over here.
Should we put these over there?
Let's put this over there with that over there.
Should we put this literally in the bin?
Yeah,
put that in the bin.
Straight in the bin.
Actually, do you reckon we can get our money back?
No,
I think we can get money back.
Most of this is broken.
Returns bicycle. Motocross. BMX, how hard can it be? Oh, let's find out. Welcome back, you beautiful people. BMX racing or bicycle motocross. We've never ventured into this world of cycling on the channel before. Today we're going to find out what it's all about. So how does BMX racing work? At a race meeting, riders will take part in a series of races to decide the winner. Each race features 8 riders competing in a battle to be first across the line. The format of a race meeting gets a bit complicated. Each rider will take part in 3 heat races, known as motos. Riders score points depending on where they finish. The 32 riders with the highest points after their heats make it through to the quarterfinals, 4 races of 8 riders. The top 4 riders of each quarterfinal goes through to the semi-finals, 2 races of 8 riders. The top 4 riders of those semi-finals will make it through to the A-finals to get the ultimate winner. Final race of 8 riders. Right, the steed. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty going fast and stuff, this is the bike that I'm going to be riding. This is a GT Pro Speed. It's a XXL frame, so that's massive. It doesn't feel massive compared to my mountain bikes, but the race bikes are really long in these parts of the world. But you've got 20-inch wheels. They're a 1.75 pumped up to the max, which is 75 psi, which I'll be running. The gear ratio on this thing is 44 to 16. That sounds big, but we'll find out. It's got 5 gears. It hasn't actually, it's only got 1, but it has like a gearbox ratio thing going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse, but don't know what that's all about. There's no dropper. There is a hydraulic brake on here, on the rear, which I don't think I'm gonna be using that much, I hope. Maybe on the end, when I cross the line, because I don't know how fast I'm gonna be going. Bars are really high, super high rise, but it's a BMX bar and it's an alloy frame. And that is it, super basic. Oh, and I thought I'd try clips. So I could put my disco slippers on, my Cinderella shoes, and we'll see how I get on with them. I might revert to flats, don't know. It's practice day today. Full face, goggles, full sleeves, trousers, clips, potentially flats, we don't know. Yeah. The bike is so twitchy, it's ridiculous. I thought I'd pedal and I was doing that. Felt like if you're in the UK, you get these little dogs, they're called Churchill dogs. They're on the back passenger shaft of a car and his head is constantly doing this. That's what I felt like. I'm so tired. Oh, that's knackering. Hey. Oh, that is horrible.
You still jump in there though?
I did a jump.
Left the ground?
I left the ground. I don't know if that's fast enough. Fast, but I left the ground.
We're pretending it's summer.
Yeah. Really? So I've come to Gosport BMX Racing Club for a little bit of help. This is John, everyone. Thank you very much, John.
Hello. Hi.
Much appreciated for this, and thanks for bringing the bike.
Yeah, a nice bit of kit.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, before we get kicked off, who is John? This is John Twitchin, presenter on BMX Race Hub on the YouTube. BMX coach, Bournemouth BMX club representative, South Region BMX talent development leader, former British BMX champion in 1992, and Southern School cyclocross champion in 1990. And that was done on a mountain bike, may I add. A man worthy to be called coach and to give me a few pointers on how to race BMX today.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's nasty sound, isn't it?
It's very loud, yes.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, it is, it is.
Right, this is where it all starts, right? This is where it kicks off.
Literally.
Yeah.
This is the start, and that's your instruction to get going.
And I reckon this is where we should start.
Okay, let's do
Just
that.
a bit of gate practice.
Let's do that. I'll
Because
put the gate up.
I don't do much of it. Any tips?
Well, let's get you on the gate.
Okay.
Nice and tall and strong, all those things. So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll start with that. All right, so get those pedals level and try and stand up a bit more. That's it. And then we want your heel up a little bit. Just tip your knee in slightly. That's it. Can you move your weight back a little bit? We're ready to go. So that's a really good position.
Oh,
It's on the edge, right?
It's on the edge.
You'll get used to it. You will get used to that balance. So, yeah, we'll get into the sequence and why don't we drop it and see how you feel? All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
Attention. Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate. Attention. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Well,
How did you do?
not bad, not bad. Reaction time is that of a dirt jumper, but we can work on that. Good position. Yeah, main thing is going to be reaction time.
I was literally split seconds too late.
Yeah, you were.
A little bit late.
Probably about half a second, yeah. And because it's all on timing loops and
Yeah.
that now, so at the bottom of the hill, just after the grill is the timer, and 0.03 at that point is about from your hub to the front wheel. So by then you're behind already, so you've got the ground to make up. So that's less than a tenth of a second, and you're already a half a wheel behind.
I was knackered just holding myself up in the gate.
Yeah. So try and relax a little bit.
Yeah.
I know it's really hard because you're tense and you're trying to, you're balancing on the pedals and you're clipped in and everything. But try and just relax. Be on the balls of your feet, like you're going to start a running race. And the first movement, head and shoulders lead, is to move forwards. All right.
Forwards into it first.
Forwards into it. Yeah. All right. And try. Your head was sort of up. You were looking at
I
the
was
gate.
looking down there.
Right, try and just move your eyes up. When it says riders ready, watch. Move your eyes up to the lights.
Okay.
Your head's in a good position then to go down the hill.
Okay. After I learned how to do the start gates, I thought it'd be better if I looked at the rest of the track with John. Wait. Right, the first straight. Out of the gate.
Yep.
Think I've nailed it. Yep.
Well, getting there.
Bit more practice, I reckon. First straight. Now, all that speed, I reckon, jump, and then manual, roller.
Manual,
Okay,
pump maybe?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I reckon.
Play it safe, race speed, you
Yeah.
know, you will carry that speed.
Yeah, because I have actually tried jumping this and I cased it somewhere over here.
Oh, was that you? All right.
I think so.
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
Yeah. And it took all my energy, so I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, you've got to carry as much speed as you can. So
Okay.
a manual through here, really work the backside of the jump.
Yeah.
You've got one backside, the track's got 15, 20 backsides, so
Yeah.
really use them.
I like that saying. All right, so manual or roller, manual, pump. Well, anyway,
Manual this.
manual this.
Pump.
No jumping. No?
Well, the little one.
Oh, yeah. Talk about that. Let's go to the corner.
Let's go there.
First straight. First massive corner. Look at that.
It's pretty big.
So for me, I've been pumping, get good pumping here, but I'm in the middle and I go up quite high and then drop in quite late. I feel like I'm going to get pushed out doing that.
Yeah, I think that's your body position on the bike,
Okay.
Blake. You know, again, it's that sort of hanging off the back, dirt
Yeah.
jumpy style. You've got to get really forwards on the bike, really
Yeah.
attack the corner.
Yeah.
So we want that outside pedal down, inside pedal up, looking at the exit,
Yeah.
and you'll get around the corner quicker, so you
Okay.
won't go up as high.
Yeah, because I tend to drift up.
Yeah.
I chill in a big berm and a
Yeah,
jet
yeah.
jump.
It's like being at the skate park, eh?
It is, yeah.
So really attacking, you know, assuming you got the whole shot with that amazing gate.
Yep.
Really tucking in towards that white line, cover that inside.
In that white line down there?
Yeah, when you get to the whole shot line, you can start opening it up. You've got to look through that corner and then start opening it up, get on the gas. But yeah,
That
try
is
not
the
to go
whole
up too
shot
high.
line?
Yeah, the white line.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully be first there then. This is a section, look at this.
Yeah.
Multiple lines.
Ready for the pro?
No, I didn't sign up for that. I think I'm going to go left.
Okay,
This
yeah.
one looks incredibly out of my pay grade.
It's quite big.
It's massive.
Framework size.
All right, last straight.
Yep, nearly there.
Nearly there. The finish line is that white line there.
That's right.
How the
And
hell? I know what I'm going to feel like. I'm going to feel absolutely buggered. Any tips here?
well, they're big mountains, really. I mean, it's a rhythm section, but they're pretty big, aren't they?
They are very big.
This is a manual. That's a nice manual. Got to
this-
pump this last one.
This last double here.
Yeah, that one, and then pump through this.
And then the lunge
And
of
then
life.
pedal like you can through the line with a lunge.
Then
Whatever legs you got left, use them.
cool. Two legs. Flapping. All right. Let's get on the bike and practice these manuals.
Let's try it. Bonk.
Yeah.
That was a bonk.
That was a bonk. Manual bonk.
Try again. Yeah, we should pump that one.
Sorry?
We should pump that one.
Yeah. I'm scared of the wind pushing me.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Good call on the wind.
The wind's like pushes you.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon. Pump it. Pump. Get a crank in here.
That would be a manual because it's behind the berm, maybe?
Yeah, manual up, or even just manual into the berm, one or the other.
Right, you said manual, and I was like, oh, it's a bit windy. You said, okay, go for the pump. And then I just manualed it.
You've nailed it.
And then that felt all right.
I mean, it depends. If you get blocked in the second corner, you might need to be pumping it.
Yeah.
If
get
you've
more
got a
power.
clean run, you
Yeah.
can do it. But you've got to be looking over the front, get that
Yeah.
wheel over the top of the
Nice.
jump.
I pedaled there,
You did.
did that,
Very good.
pumped that.
Yep.
Kind of messed up the manual there.
You were celebrating, weren't you?
I was celebrating.
So, was this good?
Mate, it was incredible. Thank you so much. I can pump, and we've done videos on the channel about pumping, but this, you need to pump. Like, if you don't have that technique, you have no hell and chance of doing this.
And it's great, you know, like you see on other tracks, whether it's dirt jump or other stuff, there's pump bumps on
Yeah.
the way into big doubles.
Yeah.
And big trick jumps and that. It just gives you that speed, doesn't it?
It
But
does.
this, of course, is the school, isn't it?
Yeah.
School
This
of pump.
It is. But all your bits that you've taught me on the gate, don't do gates. What I had there was literally the craziest crash course ever. And I'm kind of comfortable. I haven't got it, but I'm comfortable with it. And then all the bits, you like manual this, you'll get speed, manual that. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
No,
Good luck.
thank
Good
you.
luck tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right, till tomorrow. We'll see you there. Now I've learned the basics, I think it's time to go racing, but you're gonna have to wait until the next video for that one.
Just how much faster can a pro mechanic make you? Well, sadly, this is a luxury many of us won't have, but luckily for me, today I do. I've brought along fellow presenter Owen, who is an ex-World Cup downhill mechanic. But how much faster can he make me? Owen, I'm excited then today to be putting some laps in and drawing upon those years of expertise of yours to hopefully go a bit quicker.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to do some benchmarking to work out where we're at and then do some laps and play around with the bike and see what changes we can do. But first, time to set up the pits.
No pit setup is complete without folding campy chairs. And, like any true rider,
Some reading material.
I will assume the position whilst the bike is prepared.
I've got The Economist for you, a motorbike magazine, or the fantastic maintenance book from GMBN.
I feel like I do need that one.
Yeah.
You do not. I'll read this one.
I'll get stuck
you
in.
prep that one.
Right, cool.
Nice. So today then, the premise is, as I said, can I get faster with the help of an ex-World Cup race mechanic? Now what we're going to be doing is setting off on a few runs, as we said, just to get a feel for the course, get the lines dialed. And as Owen tinkers away in the background here, we're going to change throughout the day, hopefully things like tyres, but we're going to look at tyre pressures. We'll be looking at brakes, braking setup, so that could be to do with pads, suspension setup, suspension pressures. We're going to sort of tinker with all of this to hopefully, over the course of the day, use his knowledge to get me down these trails even quicker. But as he does set my bike up, I need to get geared up, like we said, and get out on the hill.
Okay, we've done a bit of a brief bolt check. We've checked pressures. We're going to note those down because that's how we can do our benchmarking, is that we can record where we're at and then we're going to play. We'll probably go a bit higher, we're going to go a bit lower, but we need to record it to know in which direction we've gone, to know which direction to head into. Okay, we've set up the BYB Chrono, so this is going to give us really accurate lap times, so we can see not just the kind of feeling where Rich goes, oh, it feels really fast. We can actually see how fast he actually is in terms of timing, because often it's really easy to kind of confuse feeling fast with actually being fast. So hopefully this will cut through all that kind of mind game of what's fast and what isn't fast.
Thank you very much. The bike for today's ride then is this, my Propane Spindrift, a free ride bike with 180 out back and 190mm travel up front. Now I haven't had this bike too long, so the setup on it is fairly sort of generic. I've just put parts on it and ridden it with a once, which means Owen is going to have his work cut out for him, especially as I'll be riding it down 3 of Bike Park Wales's finest flat runs. We've got Die Hard into Coal Knot Dole into deep navigation. A mixture of rocks, roots, jumps, woodland, open, trees, you name it, it's in there. So, well, let's get riding. Okay, this is my first timed run. We've done our sight and laps. I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm going. So this is like the stock setup. Run number 1 before Owen hopefully makes me quicker. See you in a mo. Rob.
Playing around with your bike is really, really fun, but if you don't make a record of tyre pressure, fork pressure, shock pressure, how many tokens you've got, all the messing around isn't useless, but almost useless. Because, well, if you've done one run and it kind of feels great, then you might get carried away, you might get distracted by something else, and you want to come back and you want to try and change something or reset up your bike in the same way, but you've not noted it down, well, you can get into a mix really quickly. So make sure you've got a notebook with tyre pressures, fork pressure, shock preload, all those details. Then you can make a list of run times and you can see the differences that you're going to make. So if the tyre change makes a difference and Rich gets faster, we should be able to see, rather than just going off, well, it feels faster. Because sometimes maybe like a really lightly treaded tyre, sort of like a semi-slick tyre, can feel really, really quick because you don't actually have that much traction. It doesn't actually make you much faster though. And whilst that tyre example is really easy, because you can kind of cognitively see, oh, well, there's less knobs, it's not going to break as well, so I'll roll into stuff much quicker. With suspension, it's subtler, so potentially in the car park, when you're bouncing around, you're kind of like, well, I want a slow rebound setting. But actually, when you're on the trail and you've picked up speed, you probably might want a faster rebound than you think. And that's because you want those tyres to track and you want the suspension to work all the way through. So make notes on what changes you're making. here he is. Hello, hello. How was that?
It was good. So that's my benchmark time set, but there's definitely some things I felt on the bike which didn't feel sort of as I'd like them to. So front end was sort of washing and pushing out quite a lot.
Yep.
And blowing through its travel.
Right, yep.
I think it needs to be sort of, it feels quite linear, as in it's just like...
Okay, cool, yeah. Well, I guess the first contact point is tyres, so we can look at that.
Okay.
In terms of conditions, yeah, if like, I mean, this is a more trail tyre, and we've got a fast bike, so we can put on something like a Mazda, so Enduro casing, bit lower pressure, and then we can switch out. You've got the race on the back, so good casing, but also a kind of like really open tread pattern, good for more loam, I would say, but I suspect it's not loam.
It's really hard pack. And it's not wet, but it's a bit damp in the woods under the trees still.
Yep.
So I felt like just the front, like there wasn't the confidence in it. So, well, do you know what? I'll give this to you.
Yep.
Let you work your magic.
Yeah, let's begin. We'll start with tyres and we'll move up from there.
Yeah. How are we doing, buddy?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, yeah, we're going good, we're going good.
Yeah. As we all know, a happy mechanic is an effective mechanic. So I have a bag of treats to keep us going.
Oh, excellent. This is good.
Rider's got to keep you guys fueled.
We've switched the tyres over, so we've gone Mazda Enduro casing, front and rear, 2.6 and then 2.4 in the back. Now, while the bike's in the stand, what we're going to do is just do a really quick bolt check. It's just something as a race mechanic you do just intrinsically. Basically, every time the bike's in the stand and every time it leaves, you've just given every bolt a check, because the last thing that Rich needs when he's trying to bracket and when he's trying to sort of benchmark different fields of whether it be tyres, whether it's suspension pressure, is, well, a grip coming loose or a shifter rattling loose.
And what pressures have we got in at the moment, Owen?
We did have, and this is a key why notes are really useful, is we'd got 24 PSI on the front before, and we've got 27 on the back. But yeah, we've got completely different tyres now. Do you want to go as low as, say, 23 on the front and maybe 25 on the back?
I was literally going to say 25 on the back. And then, obviously, what was my time on that first run? Like, obviously, we've got like the new system.
Yeah, the BYB was giving us
so the benchmark was
318.
Okay.
0.4.
Nice.
So,
oh gosh. 0.4. So anything quicker than that is a step in the right direction. And have we not done suspension yet? Because we're going to sort of hone in on each area at a time.
Exactly, yeah. Because the tyres act as part of our suspension system, they're like the first spring, it's really good to get those dialed, and then we can play with suspension, because we know that we've taken that sort of like one thing out of play. So we're like, cool, that's ticked off, and then we move up the chain to
okay, so you get like
suspension.
each bit dialed before moving on. Right. Thanks, bud.
Have fun.
See you in a mo.
So, setting tyre pressure is an art, and lots of different mechanics have different tools to do it. I mean, they're all pressure gauges, but they'll have their own special gauge, which they use. And it's really important to use a tyre pressure gauge. Like a little digital one is really good because it's really accurate. Because, unfortunately, some of the gauges on some pumps, whilst they're pretty accurate from new, sometimes they go out of whack. And I say go out of whack, if you dropped it, potentially you've damaged the spring inside. Whereas these smaller digital ones are much more robust, and you're less likely to kind of launch them across a workshop. So use a digital gauge, you can get it really accurate, and then make a note of it so you know what pressure you like.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Should I be worried that you're reading this?
No, not at all. It's great. How was that? So,
yeah, definitely. It was way quicker. Definitely, like, felt more. Well, first, like, confidence inspiring because the grip was there.
Yep.
So actually, especially on the front end, the back end, maybe not quite as much.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, certainly on, and like genuinely, like the front end, definitely not like you could push it into turns.
Yep.
And just rolling back from the cafe, and I noticed obviously we got a few bits of sealant poking a little head out.
Yeah. Okay, so you're cracking on.
I was
with that
definitely,
one.
yeah, man, like for sure. It'd be interesting to see the time in a mo.
And what about suspension? Because previously we haven't done anything with suspension effectively. So
that was a fairly stock. Like I just went off the stock pressures and stuff on that, and it feels too linear still. Like it feels like it's just.
So it's not. So there's no effective ramp up.
Especially like then when I was able to push it harder because of the tyres and stuff.
Yep.
It was basically like diving on the front a bit. So I do think we need to like chuck a token or two.
Yep.
Maybe keep the pressure the same. I'll sort of take some guidance on you, but pressure the same, but chuck a token or two in there so it ramps up at least.
Yep.
Or you might be able to tell me about this. If we went down on the pressure a touch but put a couple of tokens in, would that small bump get better? Bear in mind, obviously, because we got dials on dials as well.
We have got dials on dials. Effectively, yeah, so you could drop the pressure, but because you're making that air chamber and the effective size of the air spring much smaller, or a little bit smaller, depending on how many tokens we put in, it then should mean that curve kicks up more, opposed to being this linear rate of just the same pressure all the way through.
So you think same pressure potentially? And
yeah, same pressure, but we've got tokens here. We can stick in a load, and I guess this is where we can start to have fun. We can probably put in as many as we want to, and go to push the boundaries and bracket it. So go really high and go, oh, maybe that's too much. Back off a bit and then find our middle.
Okay.
But if we don't push all the way out, we don't know.
So maybe on the rear shock, I think the actual weight of the spring, so like how it feels is good. Maybe we just back off some of the compression a touch, just so it's a touch softer.
Okay, cool. Bike is ready. So we've got tokens in there now.
Yeah.
Pressure's the same.
Nice.
So all we're doing is isolating that change to suspension now. Now we've got the first part of the suspension working with the tyres.
Okay.
We've got the grip. And yeah, you did good with the new tyres. Yeah, you
hit me with some times.
You did a 3:18.4 and then you did a 3:09.
Oh wow, so like that base time got obliterated really.
You went from kind of like mid-pack to podium threat. So yeah.
Well, let's go to podium.
Podium.
Definite.
No, well, let's just say podium, and then we can look at top step of top box, and then,
I feel like this is going to be interesting because we've gone so far one way on the suspension, but, I mean, times don't lie, right? Neither does sort of...
No, exactly.
Feel can lie, times don't lie, so...
Exactly.
That's the difference here. Right. Dude, see you in a mo.
You're back again.
Okay, we're not learning mechanics this time. We're learning.
I thought mechanics are multifaceted, so we read a bit of The Economist as well. How was that run?
Yeah, it was good. It felt fast. Very similar to the second run.
Consistent's good, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like hard work though. I feel like the suspension was just maybe ramping up too much. And it was just fatiguing on my arms.
Yeah, so kind of almost like you could feel it spiking.
Yeah, exactly. Like the back, I think we've got the back end pretty sorted.
Okay, good.
I feel confident on that. I think the pressure maybe stays the same, but I'm open to your thoughts. Maybe we take a token or two out.
We can take out one of the spacers, or we can drop pressure a little bit. So I guess it's a balance between those two. If we keep the tokens in, we do get that ramp up towards the end.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit more traction because we're going to drop pressure, so small bump compliance is there.
Okay.
But then we've got more ramp up, so we should still get full travel. But it's sort of, I guess this is where it's fun.
I think that could be the winning number right there. All right, I've got a top tip actually. I know Owen's been throwing some top tips out there, but when you're working with a mechanic, be that an Owen, a pro-level mechanic here, or you're working with your local shop mechanic, should we say, the more information that you can provide them about sort of your bike, how you want it to feel, or what you want it to do, the better job that they can do, because mechanics work, largely off of feedback a lot of the time. Not just obviously, if it's a visual, physical break, a broken whatever, then that's obviously something that they can go about fixing. But if it's setting up something, they can only go so far without knowing, a good bit of rider input. So for me, like I was going to say to Owen, he talked about my brakes actually. So I've got some Code RSCs on there with sintered pads, Owen?
Sintered, yeah.
Sintered pads. And he asks, is there enough power there? How do they feel? And for the track that we're doing here at just over 3 minutes, they're not heating up enough. I'm not getting any kind of brake fade or loss of power. They feel like the modulation is good. So I don't really need to do anything there. I mean, he could change the pads and I might not even notice, but there's no urgent desire to do that. It doesn't feel like it needs it to me.
That's why it's really important to do kind of the changes really incrementally.
Yeah.
So when you've done a change, so we've done the token here, we know that that's what we're playing around with. So if the bike feels sort of better or worse, and that's why it's really good to go to kind of like, as we did, we went to 3 tokens, and we're going to kind of like bring it back down. We can notice the difference, because I think the human body, it's really difficult to notice changes. So you might change one thing and actually, like, maybe you go lower on the fork pressure, but then actually, because that unbalances the bike,
exactly.
actually makes the back end of the bike. So you can get yourself into a mess really quickly. But as you say, the more information that you can give the person that you're setting up with.
Well, look, before I head out on my final run, I need some information from you. What was the time on that last one? Because it felt close.
Yeah, it was close. So we did a 3:09 on the run 2.
That's
and then,
fastest so far, right?
Yeah, exactly. But we did a 3:10. So it kind of,
tight.
It's tight, but as you said, it is slow. And I think that's the other
Look
thing.
at the size of that Hornet.
Yeah, that's really big.
That's massive. Get out my van, you bugger.
Unfortunately, a second slower. And I think that's where it's really good that we've got the timing system, so we can actually, like, you've got your feedback of how it feels, whether it feels fast or slow. Well, but I think it's that having the kind of like, oh, okay, it was actually slower. So it's like, cool, we do need to change.
But okay, so 3:09 something or other was the time to be.
Yeah, so 3 would be great.
3. Well, I feel like we've done enough tinkering, we've done enough talking. So let's go do some timing, right?
Yeah.
Fist bumps?
Always.
Should we double? See you in a bit. Final run of the day. Will the changes that Owen's made make me even quicker? I'm hoping so. The bike feels good. We've sort of slowly got it dialed in more and more, using his knowledge over the course of the day and sort of feeding back to him. So fingers crossed. Let's drop in.
Setting sag is a critical part of setting your suspension up. So after you've set your pressure of your tyres, which is your first spring in the system of a suspension system, next is setting your sag or your preload. And that's super important because any clicks of any fancy dials, whether they be lockout or compression this or high speed that or low speed that, well, all of it's based on the spring rate. So damping is linked inherently, and you'll need a higher damping rate and more damping force to control the higher spring force. So if you start playing around with lots of clicks and lots of dials on your suspension system, whether it be on the rear or on the fork, but you've not set your sag correctly, you're just going to get yourself into a real puzzle and a real mess. So turn off all the dials. I would say turn off all the clicks of rebound and all the clicks of compression, set your sag, and then slowly build up rebound first to get it into a reasonable place. Then work on compression. But yeah, if you're starting to play with all the kind of knobs and dials before you've set sag, you're just going to get yourself into a mess, and it's just going to be really hard to get a good setup. Oh, look out.
Economist?
No, we've gone for Joe Parkin's book. Very good, yeah. Ex-mountain biker. Really good read.
Good man.
How'd you go?
Fast. I
Yeah?
felt fast on that one. I
Felt
good.
fast?
It felt fast.
Okay, that's good. Any issues with the bike? How's the
No,
grip?
I feel like sort of the tokens of the magic number there, it held up nicely because I pushed even harder that time.
Yep.
So it felt like the fork, I mean, you can still see a large amount of travel was used, but not all of it.
No.
And there's no huge impacts on that track. It's really fast.
Yeah.
Lots of little impacts. So I think we've hit the magic number. I want to know the time, so let's find it out.
You've chomped away at time. So we started on a kind of 3:18.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Plus some like minor change, very minor. And we finished on, drum roll, 3, pretty much on the nose.
Oh, wow.
There's a tiny bit of change, but like
Was
3,
it like
0,
3
0,
minutes?
2. Yeah.
Flipping heck, that is a hell of a chunk.
Yeah,
Now-
almost 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's, I mean, right. I think we should explain that a little bit. So we started off with probably what could be said was a not great setup.
Yeah.
So it was always going to get a little bit faster from that. We just
yeah.
couldn't. How much faster? We obviously then went into tyres.
Yep.
Then we went from there. We moved into sort of suspension, but one extreme of the
Exactly,
scale,
yeah.
which was, as we found, it was a little bit harsh. I wasn't too keen. It was marginally slower, but it was considerably more uncomfortable.
Yep.
So then we reined it back in from there for sort of our last timed run of the day, and I threw the kitchen sink at it.
Yep.
Now I want to put a little disclaimer in, because obviously there's an element of learning the track throughout the day. Disclaimer though, I've ridden here so many flipping times
Yeah.
that I know where I'm going. And we did, before the timed runs, a couple of runs to actually just get up to speed, get warmed up. But genuinely, like the vast majority, it's from us working together, right, today?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the thing that's really fun, is that you can do this benchmarking of riding the bike. Okay, we could see like low-hanging fruit of like, cool, let's optimise the tyres,
Yeah.
let's optimise tyre pressure. And then we worked on suspension. We were really incremental as well. We didn't just kind of go, all right, we need to change all of it all at once. So I guess the added advantage of that is that as we've made these changes, you've also been learning the track. Okay, potentially maybe slower as if this, than, you know, if the setup was perfect from day one or the first run.
Yeah.
But we've had then a progression of like building up, of getting faster and faster.
Well, just
and
that
faster.
point where we stalled a bit in the middle, obviously, we didn't improve.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
actually it
Yeah,
does show
good.
that changes don't always work.
But we've learned something.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing, is lots of
100%,
people just want to get faster, when actually, if you do something wrong or you go down a
That's a
different
learning
path, that's
curve in
good.
itself, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So to answer the question, can a World Cup mechanic, ex-World Cup mechanic, you know,
yeah.
you know what I mean, make you faster? Definitely. However, what you can take away from the video is the fact that actually everything we've done today, to a degree, you can do yourself. All right, fancy timing systems are awesome, but I mean, you know, there are apps out there, you could use your Garmin or something like that, so you can still replicate, for the best part, what we've done today. The only thing you can't replicate is what's going on up here.
Yeah, I mean, you
Not
can
the
get...
bonnet,
Oh,
because
right,
we're extremes
okay, sorry,
here.
right, yeah,
The
okay,
knowledge.
okay. Not the knowledge, right, yeah.
But anyway, look, we better crack on. Look, thank you, Owen, for today. Thank you all for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Welcome back, you beautiful people. This is what happens when another type of cycling discipline gets inspired by downhill mountain biking. Is this a We the People Swamp Master? Oh, damn! Man, look at this crazy horse. Actually, I wouldn't say it's a horse. I'd say it's a Shetland pony. This thing is beautiful. Actually, let us know in the comments down below. Is it a nice or a super nice? Because I think it's super nice, man. At first glance, when you look at this bike, you're introduced with these massive tyres. These are 2.6 knobbly tyres from Kenda. They're the Chaos Sport tyres, front and rear, 20-inch. But then you've got these forks here, are designed for younger riders, but these ones have been custom modified for the adult riders to take out all the pounding that you're going to give this bike out there on the trail. So it's 100 mil of travel, and then on the front you've got the iconic bar that comes with a BMX. You've got the high rise with a crossbar there, and then we've got the brakes, which I think is pretty overkill because they're hydraulic, they're Hayes Dominions. I've got them on my hardtail, and they are super powerful. And bring them onto a smaller wheel like this, woo, man, you got some stopping power. From that, we're going to move to the rear, which is pretty unique because this is not a BMX part right here. This is 66 mil of travel on the rear from a RockShox Monarch, and the cool thing about this, there's a pivot point in the BB here, which is concentric. It doesn't look like there's a pivot point there, but it's all built into the BB. Right, let's talk about geometry stats. Now, this is between a BMX and a mountain bike. Now, it's a little bit slacker than a park and a street ordinary BMX, but that's going to make it a little bit easier when it's coming to high speed, but it's a lot steeper than an ordinary mountain bike, but that makes it a little bit easier to do stunts on. That's why a bike like my Propane Spindrift is around 64-degree head angle. But this thing is quite a lot steeper at 71 degrees. That's still less than a street or a park BMX, which would normally be around 74 or 75 degrees. Now this thing weighs in at 14.5 kilograms, which is roughly about 31.9 pounds, which is pretty light, but it's still heavy for a BMX. I think that's enough chat about the thing. Let's go ride it. Oh, what better place to ride this absolute beast than Bike Park Wales, the proving grounds of everything that I've made, built, and bought thinking is funky, and this is funky, and I'm gonna give it a go. And A470 has just had a revamp. It's all about jumps, which I'm all about, and this thing is all about that as well. All right, first run, let's go. There. Drop it in. Oh, it's cheese, dog. Oh. Love it. Oh, this section's flat out. Double, double, double. Roller. Gap in. Manual. Man, this thing is sweet. It's smooth. Well, we've come to a trail that's a flow trail. There's loads of rollers, which you can double up. For example, this section right here, this one you have to jump, but you got roller, roller, roller. You can just double, 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 and then you double into a turn. Oh, just got to get used to how small the front is, how steep it is. But apart from that, it runs smooth, it's fast, and it is nimble. It's very twitchy, but I know that because I did BMX racing for a day, so I'm a professional, so I know what I'm doing. Up, just flat. Table. Go for cab. Oh my gosh. Oh, a bit of rough. Oh. Oh. Yeah, damn. Woo. Oh! Yeah! There's something weird about sat on a BMX, on a mountain bike trail with these bars. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna be riding some dirt jumps. Nah, we're gonna go hit some big jumps. We're at the bottom section of A470 and they get bigger. They get bigger as they get down, but this is a nice warm-up to Enter the Dragon, which is the big jumps up the top. You got this one right here, which is Vantaline, which is shut. These are the biggest ones here, but I don't favor my chances on that, but I'm glad it's shut. So we're gonna go Enter the Dragon and then go hit a black trail, something that's a bit more horrible for these little tires to get sucked up in. So I might go and do a black trail. Anyway. Ready? Holding on to dear life. Oh my God! Weird. I brought my son's bike with me. Yeah, there we go. It fits. Oh, here we go. Oh! That's fast, it's twitchy, and they're big. I cased out thinking, no, I'm going too fast, and I landed just on top. Man, when the bike goes quick, it gets twitchy, obviously, because it's a small bike. 20-inch wheels, narrow wheelbase, nothing like a mountain bike, nothing like that Spindrift of mine. Anyway, we're on Enter the Dragon, so I just come in it blind to see what it's like, and I'm gonna do it again. The top section's really cool. And then literally into the woods are the longest, like fly-offs. They're like big step downs. They're actually quite far, big long races. I'll do that again. I was a bit tight. I got goosebumps, it was quite scary. Didn't know what to expect from a little bike like this. I'll do it again.
Did you just do that on Enter?
Yeah, through the woods and that.
But that's so rad. Wow. That's like every kid's dream. Thank you, Blake.
Oh, you're
so
welcome,
much.
dude, you're welcome. Right, so we've hit jumps. The BMXs are built for jumps, street, park, for doing stunts and all that rad jazz. Now, when you bring it to a mountain bike park, like Bike Park Wales, A470, incredible job what they've done there, building all those obstacles and rollers and jumps. This thing thrives on that. It's epic fun on this. And then you come to these oversized big jumps, Enter the Dragon, which have big mellow takeoffs, big gaps, especially when you drop into the woods. It's flat out gas. It is incredibly fun on this. It's a bit twitchy, a bit sketch. You can't do some drastic maneuvers as you would on a big free ride bike like my propane Spindrift. But it's enough of that because this bike is built for jumps. I think we should do mountain bike stuff because it's a full suspension. So let's go and hit die hard and not die hard. All right, dropping in. Rough stuff. Rough stuff, here we come, baby! Whoa! Like this section, my favourite. Oh, not grippy. No grip on the tyres. Nice! Oh! Oh! Oh my! Giddy on! Oh! Right, we're getting there. Oh my bloody twitchiness. Incredible. Woodlands, I love it. Single track trails. It's flat out, you're going fast, you got amped amount of grip with your tires, you trust in your bike, and then you ride this. You ride this. You ride this down this stuff, and your world has turned upside down. Twitchiness. Oh yeah. Oh my flipping goodness me. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my flippins! Whoa! Yeah! Oh! The gullies of yeah, oi! Oi! Yes! Man, the scene ride's really good. Right, street. This is the stair set of doom, but this is like a two-stepper. I'm gonna basically hop all the way down to flat, proper street. Let's have a go. It's basically a flat drop. I landed at the bottom. That's street, right? They just do stair sets to flat. How big can you go? And that's as big as I'm gonna go today. And I've got a full suspension bike. Right, let's go to Rim Dinger. The clue's in the name. It dings rims. Rim Dinger. It's rough. Oh my God. And it only gets rougher. Whoop. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh my goodness me. And I got a punny. Got a puncture? Have I got a puncture? No. Or have I? I don't know. Oh boy. Oh man. Oh man. Got a puncture. Hey, told you, clues in the name. Rim dinger never ceases to disappoint me. It's absolutely flat out on that section. There's so many rocks there, they'll catch you out. And it did catch me out right here, gutted. But hey, I've had an absolute ball riding this beast today. Look, I'm an sweaty mess. I need some lunch, I need a cup of tea, some water. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video, a bit of entertainment for you and the insight of what BMX full suspension bikes are all about. Let us know if you want to see more of this rig on the channel. Maybe a few more different challenges, huh? Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, like, and I'll see you next time. See ya! Welcome back, you beautiful people. Today is an exciting day. It's something I love to do a hell of a lot on the trail. And it's a question I get asked so many times. How do I jump? How do I get in the air? Why do you make it look so easy? Well, today is your lucky day. Stick around, I'm gonna show you how to jump. The main thing when it comes to jumping is learning the basic techniques. Having a good solid foundation with a good technique and the right technique is going to help progress that jumping skill and also fill you with confidence, because jumping is all about confidence. Talk about confidence, this is a tabletop, the perfect place to learn those techniques on jumping, because there's nothing in the middle that you need to clear or any obstacles you need to jump over. You want to keep it basic and simple. Learning to jump is as easy as ABC or 1, 2, 3, which is perfect because these are 3 steps on how to jump. Number 1 is about your approach into the takeoff, your speed. Now you can see here, you want it to be as stress-free as possible. You got a nice berm there into a roller, but it's nice and straight. You don't want to go too fast first off because things can go wrong, which I'll touch on where it goes wrong at the end of the video if you want to stick around. But it's all about coming in with level pedals. You don't want to start pedaling or stop pedaling right here on the takeoff because it can end super wrong. Now when you're coming into the takeoff, you want to go level pedals in the attack position. You want to drive the bike into the ground. You want to squat into it. Put the driving force down into your pedals, squat the bike because you're going to drive the bike. You're going to pump through the lip. So you're driving the bike up through the lip. As soon as you get to the top here, this is where you want to just stand up. What I mean by standing up, just think if you are fully rigid like this at the top of the takeoff and you try and pop with your straight legs, you can't, you're using your toes. But if you bend your legs like this, where I'm saying you squat the bike into the takeoff just before in the bowl, before the lip, and you're driving the bike up, you go and you force yourself up like that. It's basically using the bunny hop technique to get yourself into the air off the takeoff, but you're not being as vigorous with the bunny hop technique off the lip. Get in. Oh, there we go. Nice, perfect technique for jumping. Now we're moving on from step number 1 into step number 2. You've exploded off the lip. You're standing up tall, but you need to level out your bike. By doing so, you're going to push the bars forward to level it out, but you're going to need to bring up that rear wheel with you as well. You don't want to leave that behind because it limits the height that you're going to get. Plus, you don't want to sag you back in. You want to level it out. So you want to curl your feet on the pedals to bring up the rear. Bring up the bike into you by using your hips. Don't pull on your pedals. Now, for some clipless riders, they're using, clipped pedals. They probably rely on their clips to manipulate the bike up into them, but be careful with this. It's kind of bad technique. It does get the wheel up, but it's bad technique, and also it can emphasize on you when you pull too much, and it sends your weight over the front, which I will touch on that at the end of this video. Right, you're in here. Step number 3. Yes, number 3. So you're in the air, maybe here, not there, here. Anyway, you need to match the landing. You want to match two wheels landing at the same time. So when you're coming in, this is where you want to push the bike forward to match the front wheel into that landing. But now this is where you got to be careful a little bit. By stretching out, you're stretching out your arms. You don't want to come in with your knees bent because you're going to use your legs as suspension. If you're riding a hardtail, you want to stretch out a lot more because you need to absorb that impact on the hardtail. With a full suspension, yes, you got rear suspension to help soften the blow on the landing. But you want to get for your knees, not from bent, you want to get to straight out like this so you can absorb that landing. You want to land two wheels nice and straight, looking ahead. At this point, you want to be relaxed. You want to be relaxed here, don't fight it. And I know some people at the takeoff favor one side. One side of their body is stronger. Now I'm a right-hander and I favor my right side. So I do pull harder on my right, but I've learned over years to relax. It's a constant 50-50 pull through the bars. Don't pull like this. Don't get all stiff because you end up into a dead sailor. Now, there are 3 perfect steps to help you learn how to jump. Right, quick recap on the 3 steps. Step number 1, a nice stress-free roll in into the takeoff. When you approach the takeoff, this is where you want to preload the bike. Preload the bike just before the bottom of the takeoff and drive the bike up the lip to a nice solid stand-up using the bunny hop technique. Number 2 is in the air now. You're in the air. You want to bring the rear wheel up. By doing so, you want to curl your feet on the pedals to manipulate the bike to come up into you by using your hips. Number 3 is all about the landing. This is where you want to push the bike forward to match 2 wheels into that landing. Push your front wheel down, nice strong arms, and remember to stretch out your legs to use as absorption on the impact. But let's touch on some of those mistakes. Nice, dude. Nice. Oh, whipped that one. Anyway, perfect example of how to jump. But there is some mistakes that does happen when it comes to learning how to jump. I'm going to touch on a few of these. Number 1 is the most common one, and that is going over the bars. It's where you preload the bike too much, you stand up, but you bring up the bike. Well, basically, you compress the bike too much on the takeoff. Your body weight's all over the back, and basically what happens, it preloads and fires you over the front end, which forces your whole body weight to go over the front wheel, which is never good. You want to keep your body weight quite central to the bike, not too far over the back, because that ballast there has only got one way to go, and that is catapulting out of the front door. Oh, yeah, there we go. Woo! Whoa, right, mistake number 2. That was nearly a mistake right there. And that is bringing the back wheel up when you're clipped in. When you're using your clipless pedals to bring your bike up, it's never a good idea. That is just a bad technique, and it's a very strong mistake that a lot of people do when they're running clipless pedals. So try and rely on the technique more so than your clipless pedals, because it will help you out a lot and also stop you from bringing that body weight too far up. This is the dead sailor, the captain overcooked really. So what happens when you stiffen up in the air? Like I said, you have a dominant part of your body, left or right, you pull, you end up going all squirrely, you're like, oh, you tense up in the air and you go all dead sailery. It's all about relaxing. Go with the flow. Don't fight what the bike's gonna do in the air. You can manipulate that by just moving around with fluidness. Don't stress yourself out, because it's a progressive skill to learn. It takes time to get it, and it's mainly a confidence building technique. Just start off small, fly out, little tabletop. Don't make it too hard for yourself. Right, I'm gonna push up to the top. I'm gonna do these jumps. Nice! There you have it. 3 easy steps on how to jump your mountain bike. It can be done on any bike. It's all about techniques, being confident, and just having fun with the whole learning process. It's taken me years to perfect the jump, but it doesn't have to take you years, because I didn't have someone showing me how to. Anyway, hopefully this video has helped you, inspired you to go out there and learn how to jump your bike. It doesn't matter how high or how low, as long as your 2 wheels are off the ground, you're jumping. On that note, there's more jumps. I'm gonna crack on, because I can see and smell a cup of tea. See ya.
If, like me, you're a fan of World Cup downhill racing, then you will be aware of Dakota Norton. The super fast man from Tennessee in the USA is just one step away from winning a World Cup downhill. But his bike setup this year has been talk of the town, all because of the handlebars he runs. Right, so Dakota Norton runs 75mm rise handlebars, which is much bigger than most people. I would say the average is probably 20 or 30mm. So actually in a Vital interview podcast, he says that because he has short arms and he has a longer reach on his bike, he likes to bring his bars upright, basically to sort of optimise that balance on the bike. He says he can't ride in that same style as Loic Brune and Finn Isles, where they are much more kind of down, lower, more aggressive on the bike. He says he gets more weight onto the front wheel by standing up. If you look at his riding style, it's way more stood up, and he also rides a lot of motocross as well, so it's a much more similar setup to his motocross bike. We've seen other riders bring their bars slowly up as well. Finn Isles was running a super slam bar not so long ago, and the rise definitely increased there. And people like Greg Minnaar, I've seen lots of spaces underneath his stem in the past. So there's no arguing with Dakota Norton's speed. He is going to win a World Cup at some point. He's been so close, qualifying and semis fastest. So when he wins a World Cup, will it be one of those trends that just takes off? So today I'm at Derby Bike Park. I'm on a downhill bike, which is already a recipe for a good day out. And I'm going to try them out and see if it can suit me or even you. I have two sets of bars by a brand called Fouk R. That is exactly how it's spelt. I probably wouldn't pronounce it like that if I had my own choice. But actually, when you get these things, they don't say that on them at all. They say Guage, which sounds better. I don't know. So I bought these off Amazon. Where else do you buy your handlebars? For around £30 each. They're available in 25, 55, 75 and 90. So I've got 75, and these are the 90mm Rise bars today. Absolutely massive. And I'll tell you what the Amazon description says. 780mm wide, easy to install and adjust. Although I would say some of these marks do not really look straight, I would say. And actually, the cut marks on the end don't line up with the end of the bar anyway. Material, mountain bike handlebar made of aluminium alloy, high strength, not easy to deformation. Very good. Resistance to wear and tear, not easy to accumulate dust, easy to clean. I mean, that sounds like an extra bonus. £30, some easy to clean handlebars sound really good. I don't know if you can see on camera, but this is the 90mm handlebar. You can see the bottom of the stem clamp section. It looks curved to me. It doesn't look like you've got two, flat parallel surfaces there. Let's try and find a flat surface, the end of the other bar. Can you see like there isn't a flat bit? So, I don't know, are all bars like that? The Amazon description also says, ergonomic design, high riser bars give you much more control. Over what, I'm not sure. Makes riding position more comfortable, probably, yeah, but best choice for riders. For mountain bike, DH, cross country, AM, free ride. I mean, this sounds like the only handlebar you could ever need for all your mountain biking needs, so I'm excited to try them out. So it's already been a bit of faff getting ready for the shoot, to be honest. I had to do a dry run fitting everything. And actually, I've had this lovely new canny sender a couple of weeks, and I trimmed my brake hoses down to make it look really nice. And then, of course, they're way too short for even the 75mm bars, so I've had to change out the hoses on this bike already. That is a 75mm bar. And I can see the reasoning behind why Dakota is running the higher bars, basically. But there's so many different things that can affect where your weight is on the bike. I've always found that I'm quite sensitive to bar height, and if it's too high for me on any bike, definitely on a downhill bike, if it's too high, I don't get enough weight on the front tyre, and then I suffer from washouts. So I've always been fairly low on the handlebar, so I feel like this probably isn't going to work for me, but who knows? I also don't know any other changes Dakota might have done to his bike to make it work for him with the high riser bar, or if the high riser bar is kind of like the last piece of the puzzle to make it work for him. So I'm going to keep my bike almost exactly the same. I've put the chainstay length out to then bias the weight a bit more to the front wheel anyway, because that's what I like. So I'm going to swap the bars over and basically see how it feels. But before I change anything, I'm going to do some very rough science here to try and get a number of how much weight is already on the front of my bike. So, back in my downhill racing days, I used to actually have a notepad with kind of the geometry of the bike that I rode and exactly how I liked it, from bar height off the ground, stack, to head angles. But also, back in those days, I did used to struggle with front wheel grip, like I've said already. I had some advice at the time off Greg Minnaar's mechanic, Marshy, and they talked about actually using bathroom scales and chocking up the back wheel, putting the bathroom scales under the front wheel, and then trying to get that weight balanced exactly onto the front tyre in a static position. trying to get 60% to 40% on that front wheel. So today I'm obviously out at the bike park. It's definitely not a flat ground. I'm actually going to try and find a number for this. It's not going to be perfect, but I've got my bike stand here. I've kind of marked where it is, and I'm going to slide a set of bathroom scales underneath my front wheel. It's probably not chalked up exactly at the same height, but if I keep things the same, at least I'll find myself a number. Then I'm going to lower myself onto the bike and see what that number says, and then compare that after I've changed the bars. So as much of a bodge this actually is, of course, that's measuring 34 kilograms on that front wheel. So I weigh 80 kilograms. So 40% of my weight is actually 32. So it's about right. We're a couple of kilograms off, which would leave me with 46 kilograms on the rear tire. So that's about where I'm looking for my weight to be. I know it's definitely nowhere near perfect, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that changes with a higher bar. What are we thinking? It feels absolutely insane already. Like a beach cruiser. Literally, I mean, I know they're not swept back, but it literally feels like a beach cruiser. Like, I'm quite excited about putting these on one of my bikes for cruising around town, but actually as far as racing downhill or riding downhill, it feels so crazy. It does feel like the reach has just got smaller because it's just bringing, you obviously way more upright, but let's try and put it back into my sort of bodged jig here to see if there are any numbers to go against that feel. Thoughts? Well, it's not showing any different on the scale, which I don't know. I think that's kind of what Genoa says. He's got a really long bike, so his reach is big. He's brought the bars up so that he's not stretched out. So it does feel a bit like that. You know, my weight is still on the bars, but I'm stood more upright, which is what he talks about quite a lot, about riding motocross and things like that. So maybe it's not as daft as it feels. Let's try the 90s again. Whilst we're here, let's just stick them on, see what it looks like. I can't believe the way that bar fits. I can see 2 mil of clear air at the extreme ends of the stem, basically, where it's not touching. I know when I roll it over, it does touch, but under here, there's going to be a pressure point for sure on the edge of that clamp. And then if you look underneath, you can see clear air where the bar isn't touching the stem at all. Yeah, 90 millimeters. It's comfy. Quite like it. It literally feels like a Harley. I'm sat back here. I need some tassels on the end of my bars, cruising along. I can imagine it for chilling down bike parks all day is quite good. But as far as actually trying to ride this thing fast, don't want to do it. I mainly don't want to do it because the way this bar is fitting in this stem, like, I don't feel like I want to ride down this bike park with these bars on. So I will switch back to the Dakota Norton Specials 75mm, and then we'll go up the hill. If anything, it says there's more weight on the front tyre now, which surprised me a little, but I know it's not a perfect way of doing it. But yeah, I'm not going to run them, so we won't worry about that. I'm going to go to the 75s. That is mad, isn't it, that bike? He's got 2 of them, identical. One of the great things about modern downhill bikes is just how adjustable the geometry is in these things. At the moment, I've got the stock reach, so the headset cups sit there, and that's 460mm. So this is a medium bike, I'm 5'10". That feels 460s on the money for me. And I've flipped the chainstay chips as well there to make that as long as possible. So that's 455mm chainstays in this bike. That, for me, again, like I said already, it then sort of biases the weight a bit more forward. But actually, when I'm going to change the bars now from my stock 20mm rise to the 75s, I'm actually going to stick the longer reach up front. So that actually takes it 8mm out to 468mm, because I think we need this to work together. And a bit like Dakota Norton, like he says, the longer reach means he wants a higher bar. So I'm going to try that, but also I'm going to take out a couple of these spaces underneath that top crown. So I'll bring it down a little bit and then up with the bar. Never has bar roll been more important. As soon as you move the bars like a degree, it just completely changes. You know, it could probably change where your bars are by 30 mil. So I'll just have to take some Allen keys with me, I think, because that's not going to be right straight away. I'm riding a Canyon Sender CFR full carbon downhill bike. Lovely matte black, but it's covered in dust, which I like to see. So this bike came full 29. I've actually swapped it out to mixed wheels, so 27.5 in the rear, and I've moved the bolt there to get that set up nice. 63 head angle, 200 mil travel. It's got a stack of 63 mil at the front. It's got 435 mil chainstays as standard. I've extended them by 10 mil. I've extended the reach by 8 mil, like I said already. 45 mil stem, normally has 20 mil rise bars, but now I'm up to 75 mil rise, 780 width. It feels like I'm riding, like Dakota Norton. Not as fast maybe, but like, you know, his style, it kind of feels like that. It's like in the corners particularly, I've heard him talk about it, where he's just like almost MotoGP, and it feels nice in the turns where I thought I wouldn't be able to balance my weight. It feels safer because you're tipped back going through the corner like that. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I've also thought about this, and if your bars are closer, potentially I'm subconsciously moving forward to counter a little bit, and actually if you do that, you've then got more bend in your arm, so sort of more negative and more positive space, or well actually less negative but more positive space to throw the bars away from you. So does that put you in a more neutral position on the bars with your arms particularly? Maybe. It feels a bit like that. It feels like I can pressure the front tyre nicely in the turns where I was worried that I wasn't. So, yeah, I mean, I'm yet to be sold on the aesthetics, but it feels weird sat on it. But when you go in, it feels pretty good. But I think we should dip into the woods. It slows down a bit as well, actually, and we'll see how those corners in the woods are. Right, experiment over. 75mm bars. What's the verdict? Surprised how good it is. Obviously, downhill races test a lot of things, so Dakota won't have just tested this alone. I'm sure, you know, that's a prototype Mondraker it's on, so they'll have probably tried different size frames, you know, flip chips, adjusted reach even. I don't know that, to be honest, but it's all in conjunction with each other. So I haven't tweaked much on this bike, like I said. I've just changed the reach and I've put the bars up, and it felt great. I'm surprised actually how good it felt in turns. It feels a bit weird, like it makes you want to tuck, like Dakota Norton. I obviously didn't have the hair flowing out the back of my helmet, but I did feel like him. But when you're tucked, even like sometimes in turns, obviously it feels like my chin is down here. When I try and go really fast and down a bike, I have lots of times in the past whacked the chin of my full face on the stem, trying to soak things up. So it feels like when I do that, obviously my hands are by my ears, and it feels fine. It actually feels really good for rest time. So I'm impressed how much I can weight the front, which is what I always try and do. Like I said before, I struggled for years with bar height and fork sort of progression. I always felt like when I was really pushing limits, I would wash out the front tyre, because it wasn't the correct weight on there at all times. And now I feel like, the forks are great nowadays, the geometry suits me, and now I can pressure the front tyre that even a bit easier now with a higher bar. But I'm definitely not sold on the look. It was nice to be able to try it for 30 quid, but I don't trust these bars, having seen the 90 mils that I wouldn't want to run. So I think I'm gonna get on the phone and try and find some 50 mil bars from someone a bit more reputable, like Bergtech, someone like that. I think that might be the magic number for me, 50. I can always play around with spacers anyway, so yeah. I don't need to be quite as wild as a Dakota with the sizes, but also with his riding style. I don't need to do that anymore, so it's all about fun, and it feels great, so yeah. Jump into the comments, let me know what you think about how they look. Do you think you might try higher bars? Is it going to be a trend? As soon as Dakota Norton wins a World Cup, do you think more people will do it? I think they probably will, because we're fickle characters. And if he proves it can work, then I think everyone else will jump on the same bandwagon as well.
Now, mountain biking has all been about innovation over its lifespan, and in that journey there has been some huge successes, some things that we will celebrate to this day, but there has also been some terrible flops, Richard. Boo. Yeah, so let's have a look at some of the biggest flops in mountain biking.
Okay, Martin, kicking things off on our list of flops is the URT suspension bike, the Unified Rear Triangle.
Yes, now, in discussing this within our own office,
yes,
we couldn't quite work out what it did worst the most. If that makes any sense.
Split, wasn't it?
Now, let me explain, because it sounds bad initially, but basically, the Unified Rear Triangle was an attempt in the early full suspension days, making a full suspension bike climb as well as a hardtail. And it kind of did. It kind of worked.
Kind of being the word.
Now, the problem is it had such a high pivot point that basically the rider was stood on the bottom bracket, and when you were seated, you did get a kind of bobby suspension feel, but it actually climbed better when out of the saddle, which is kind of opposite to how we would do it these days. We would say, get in your saddle. But of course, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So it did climb well for a full suspension bike, but mainly because the suspension almost locked out because of that high pivot point once you were out of the saddle. Now, when you were descending,
here we go.
You were now mostly out of the saddle, which meant the bike also locked out a bit, and you had brake jack and all sorts of things. So, yes, it was a flop in mountain biking, but some iconic bikes had URT suspension designs. So the Schwinn Sweet Spot is not one I was familiar with, but I remember the Trek Y.
Yeah, I remember that.
Of course.
That is quite an iconic bike,
the
Trek Y,
Klein
isn't it?
Mantra, another iconic bike. All unified rear triangles, all kind of good at climbing, but not kind of good at descending. It's a mixed bag of nearly. But,
What could have been.
Yeah, what could have been.
I'd love to see someone try and bring it back.
I think generally the consensus is no, we wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know what? In the path of innovation, evolution of mountain bikes, they were an important step. So they are in our flops, but with some love.
The irony that actually they didn't flop, they locked out. Okay, Martin, this one is a gem, because this one actually flopped.
This is a flop.
The Gervin Flex Stem. Now, this is an early attempt at front suspension.
It really is.
And the name is as suggests. It's
Yeah.
a stem that flexed.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the most famous flops in mountain biking.
Oh, God.
It's actually got a little bit of a curveball ending to it, this one.
Oh, okay.
Because essentially the Gervin flex stem wasn't about suspension, it was about comfort. Okay?
Yeah, like damping.
So you could ride a long way and not have your arms fatigue, because back then it was all about travelling distances, riding big cross-country loops.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about downhill descending, and this product definitely wasn't designed for
No.
downhill descending. And there has been quite a few attempts at other brands making flexi stems, not the flex stem. But it definitely goes down as a very iconic product that is of its time,
Yeah.
the 90s, and very early 90s too.
Yeah.
And you'd
I mean-
think, well, it's an idea tested but best left alone, you'd think. You'd
Right.
think. But gravel bikes,
Oh, yeah.
gravel
Here we go.
bikes and gravel riding is something of a retest of all of the early mountain bike ideas.
It's like fashion just coming back round.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, back then, it was fun. Turns out, still is. And gravel bikes are using some flex stems.
Yeah.
Gravel riders do try
Yeah.
those products. It is working on those bikes. So yes, the flex stem, it's gone, it flopped, literally, but it's on its way back in the world of gravel.
Boo. Do you know what I think the problem with it was? Is that it also pitched your weight so far forward over the front all the time.
Yeah, and it felt gross.
Ugh,
Oh,
and it
horrible,
looked gross.
Horrible. In
Anyway.
fact, I hate it.
Moving on. So, Martin, the next flop is in the world of gears.
Yeah, don't say Hammerschmidt.
It's Hammerschmidt.
I won't have it. It's not
Well,
a flop.
You,
Jack liked it.
You liked
Hammerschmidt, yes, Hammerschmidt was SRAM's attempt, right, at eradicating the front derailleur. Right?
A valid attempt.
Yeah, I mean, it used planetary gears in this amazingly compact, quite pretty little system. It did have some weight to it. It did
Yeah,
have
and
some
some
weight
drag.
to it. Yeah, it definitely had some drag.
Flipping heck.
Yeah, it really did, especially in its kind of like overdrive mode. But I loved it. I really thought it was a great idea. As a trials rider, I suddenly thought, wow, I could have this tiny little crank on the front of my bike, would mean that my 6 gears in the back are now 12, because
Yeah,
it essentially
I get
gave
it.
you double chainring at the front without double chainring.
What on weight though? Because it weighed a flipping ton.
It did weigh a lot, it had its downsides, but it was that leap towards what essentially became one by. Right? I mean, that's
It was
kind
the
of...
evolution, are we saying?
Well, it was the journey towards. It wasn't exactly
Ah.
the idea of one by, but eventually one by came in, and that killed SRAM's
See ya.
Hammerschmidt chance, really, because one by was a much better solution to getting rid of that front derailleur.
Well, do you know what? The sort of Travative, SRAM, it's all kind of under the same, or was in the same. So the
Yeah.
irony that SRAM are actually now renowned for amazing one-by systems.
Yeah, well, they
So-
wanted to solve that problem, and they did. And I mean, it's only been compounded with, like, you know, power shift hubs and things like that,
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
you all of these options that the front derailleur was giving you, but in much more compact solutions and lighter
Better.
solutions. So the Hammerschmidt falls away into history with a slight yearning call from Martyn, because I loved it. I really thought it was cool. I really did. But it's gone. It was a flop. It didn't work. Got to accept it.
You also thought Trials was cool.
Oh, that hurts, Rich. That really hurts. There was no need for that. There's no need for that, man. That's too far. That's too far.
This next flop, Martin, is from gearing giants Shimano.
They got this one wrong.
Big old cock up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dual control. Introduced in 2003, it's essentially a combination of brake levers and gear shifters into one big old ugly pod.
Big, bulky, floppy, wobbly.
Unreliable.
Yeah, it always felt like the levers were broken. You
Yeah.
pull them, but they could move downwards, and
Yeah.
felt wrong.
Didn't sort of stay in place very well when it got really rough. Just a big
a
old
good
no-no. A couple of other problems. The transition from sort of 9 to 10 speed, they didn't really survive that very well.
No.
The reliability wasn't there. They were quite fragile.
Yeah.
They really just didn't.
Didn't gel. I don't have much love for these, because
Yeah.
I only ever tried it once and I didn't love the feel of it, but I did go on eBay to see if I could find a set, and I found a set for £60. It's
cheap.
And even though I didn't like them, I just thought, £60? for a retro build, that might be quite fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go on e-bike.
I shan't buy them.
No, they're not for me. They're not for me. And they're maybe the easiest one on this list that I could call a flop.
Yeah, I think so.
Linkage forks, Rich's favourite. Rich doesn't like linkage forks. It's not a new idea. Back in the 90s, early 90s, Proflex tried their linkage fork system. White bikes. We've got one of these in our shed. Yeah. I think it was Neil took this out for a ride.
Yeah, terrifying.
He found it quite scary. Now, they don't look great. They've polarizing looks. They can be heavy. They can be over-engineered. But one thing you've got to say for the linkage fork, okay, is that there are some good points to it, some ideas that work. It does maintain your wheelbase.
Scrap metal value.
Through its movement, which the telescopic fork doesn't do.
No, I give you that.
It does track the trail really well. There are good reasons to build this fork, but getting over the cost and the weight and the over-engineering and the looks has been its downfall and why it's here on our flops list. There have been some notable versions of it that I particularly liked. I really like the Lauf. It isn't a linkage fork because it's got carbon blades, so it kind of flexes.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And no, I haven't bought one.
Oh, just curious.
Yeah. The other one we really liked is the Trust fork.
Oh, nice. You haven't bought one?
We haven't got a set of those.
I just wondered.
But unfortunately, they went out of business only recently, but probably the most recent, very notable version of that fork.
Right, Martyn, this next flop pains me that it's in there.
Oh, it pains me.
Shimano Airlines.
Oh, look at the joy on your face.
I thought they were, as an innovation, great. So the Shimano Airlines system was essentially a replacement for your conventional cable-driven system and kind of way before electronic gears. And it used a compressed air canister mounted to the bike and airlines, as the name suggests, running to the gears, whereby at the press of a button...
No.
No?
It's a big no from me.
Come on.
Airlines, to me, are what linkage forks are to Rich.
Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like electronics had even been invented when they made these.
No, because this is around...
Yeah, so let's make it in the, compressed air.
Yeah, so this is around the same time, the 1990s, so when
No, electronics has been around quite a long time. They could have just gone to electronics, Rich. They really could. I mean, it was too complex.
Yeah.
It was not reliable.
No.
It was limited benefits in total because essentially it just did the same thing.
Pretty ugly.
And it was short-lived. Quickly died away.
Shimano Airlines, R.I.P.
Bye-bye. But some people really loved them. Last but not least, I absolutely demand it be removed from this video. It is not a flop, it's the Cannondale Lefty.
I know, just look at how many bike manufacturers have adopted it. Incredible amounts.
Wait, Richard, wait. The Lefty was something that Cannondale brought in the 1990s. Very striking fork, a crazy idea.
Same as airlines, dual control.
It's one of those things that needs an awful lot of open-mindedness when you come to it. It needs a specific front hub. It can work on other bikes, but no one ever puts it on other bikes. It's basically needle roller bearings, making this one-sided fork work and do the job of two forks, essentially like halving a triple clamp set of forks.
Brilliant.
Hey, Rich, it works. Over the years, it's won World Cups. And I'd like to say, unlike all of the things on this list today, it is still winning World Cups. The Lefty Ocho, which is their much more revised...
single crown version,
Single crown version, is fantastic, super lightweight, still looks sick. Absolutely Cannondale in its finest form. It's not a flop. Is it? Rich, to you. Would you ride a Lefty?
I have ridden a Lefty. I've ridden the Ocho on Charlie Aldridge's bike.
Yeah, and you loved it.
And I've ridden it, yeah.
What, you're telling me you rode Charlie Aldridge's bike and didn't like it?
I didn't say I didn't
No,
like the...
no, he didn't. You said you liked it. It was a World Cup. It's a World Cup.
Do you know a
bike.
Cannondale flop I prefer is their motocross bike? Bring that. I'd rather they brought that back. But anyway.
Oh man, that was an expensive mistake and nearly cost the whole company its company.
I know. And here they are making
but
lefties.
The lefty, weirdly, is still going. I really still love it and haven't really got a bad thing to say about it. But I guess it's the one thing on my list which is a little bit like this because the others are all dead and buried. So it's your chance to get involved in the video. Give us your thoughts on the lefty down below and any other kind of flop
have we missed anything?
you may have heard of. Yeah, I'm sure we have missed some flops. So let us know what they are and tell us why you thought they were so terrible. The flops of mountain biking essentially are the innovations that don't know what's coming yet. It's what's made our sport great, but you gotta love them even though they didn't work. Thanks for watching. Rich is wrong about all the ones he liked. See you next time.
I am 43 years old and I've been starting to think that I might be getting too old for mountain biking. Why do I think that? I think I can probably be classed as a grown-up now. I do have a grown-up life with 3 kids, a dog and responsibilities. And finding time to ride a bike is not getting any easier. But the main reason that I've been thinking about my mountain biking future is because it's starting to get painful. I think I've probably had my fair share of injuries in the last 28 years I've been riding, but there's been one recent significant one that's catching up with me. I've been riding since 1995 and started racing downhill straight away. 15 years of that meant lots of crashes, broken shoulders, torn cartilage and ligaments and loads more, but nothing that I would class as major until more recently. I still feel effects of a crash I had in 2016. A road bike crash left me with a fractured skull, a brain bleed, a broken nose, jaw and ankle and some smashed teeth. That was a long recovery and it's mostly all good now, except for the broken ankle. That is a massive pain in the ass. I still have quite a limited range of motion with my foot, and that means even pedaling on a bike sometimes I kind of hit the limit and my foot comes off the pedal, which is annoying. But actually just getting out of bed every day is super painful, but you learn to live with it. But it's something else that makes you feel like I've come to a turning point and an injury that means I might not be able to ride the same again. At the end of July, I had a small crash by anyone's standards, but the pop in my knee made me realise instantly that it was not insignificant. I had that deflated feeling of dread straight away. Oh my God! I rode the rest of the day, but the next day was different. Luckily, I've got my own set of crutches from the Chile incident. It was day 3 of the Andes Pacifico Enduro race and I was feeling very fatigued. On the final stage of the day, there was a really gnarly rock section and I got it very wrong and I went flying from my bike and landed hard on my thigh in a set of rocks. I ended up with compartment syndrome in my thigh. That needed emergency surgery to drain the bleeding. Fortunately, the injury was much less dramatic than it originally looked. Compartment syndrome is really painful until you get the surgery. Your muscle is basically bleeding internally and cannot expand. Bad news if you can't get surgery quickly. But now I'm just left with an impressive scar and a funny pins and needles feeling permanently. I digress. Back to the knee. It was I knew it. Torn ligaments for sure. I was just hoping it wasn't my ACL because I know that's a big one to fix. Right, I've just got back from the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital and I have seen the knee specialist and I have a complete disruption of my anterior cruciate ligament, grade 1 torn MCL and some cartilage damage as well. So, I mean, it wasn't really shocking news to me. I've been living with this knee for like 10 weeks, I think now. It's not been much fun, it's been painful. I can ride, but yeah, it's not great. And yeah, even walking is not that much fun most of the time, but I am out with the dog, which is all good, and the sun is out. So I do feel a bit like I'm getting too old for this, which is, you might know that reference from Lethal Weapon. Fun fact, Danny Glover was actually 41 He's 2 years younger than me now when he filmed Lethal Weapon. And I can feel him. I know what it's like now. So I will need ACL surgery, which I know lots of people that have been through that. I know it's pretty full on. It's going to take me a while. Surgeon says, 6 to 9 months before you're back being able to do like twisting sports. So I guess that's kind of what happened when I crashed. So I'll have to be steady, not risk crashing for quite a long time. But yeah, surgery coming up in a couple of weeks.
The reconstruction process for an ACL repair involves a surgeon taking a graft replacement tissue from either the patient's hamstring or patella tendon. A small incision will be made on the front of your knee and an arthroscope inserted to illuminate the knee joint. The surgeon will drill a tunnel in your bone to pass the new tissue through. The graft tissue will be positioned in the same place as the old ACL and held in place with screws or staples that remain in your knee permanently. Job done, but the recovery is slow. Patients can typically return to sport after 6 to 12 months, but it may take longer.
All this has got me thinking about when I do come back to riding, should I be taking less risks? But ironically, this knee injury came from actually quite a small crash. In the last year or two, I've been staring down some big jumps and thinking, do I need to do this? Do I still love this type of riding? Finding joy. Sometimes a bike ride gives me purpose and a reason for being. It's been my life for so long, but sometimes they don't. They're tiresome or deplete me rather than energise me. I saw that quote on the Red Hand Files, Nick Cave's website. Check it out, it's very inspiring. So I am staring down quite a long period off the bike, but I have other problems as well. I've actually got a wrist injury that's different. This has been more sort of degenerative. It's not just one incident, but I've actually got ligament damage between my scaphoid and my lunate. So that either needs surgery or fusing as well. And I've also torn the rotator cuff in my shoulder as well. So you get the picture. Riding a bike is becoming quite painful, even if I ignore the knee. I have to say, this wrist brace is a complete godsend. It has made riding completely pain-free now, and that has actually made the rest of my life with my wrist painless as well. So that is on the back burner for now. But the accumulation of these injuries has made me think about mountain biking, and when I come back, should I still be doing the same thing? Well, Steve, you're the oldest guy I know. What are you, 60? How old are you?
I lied.
What?
I lied. I'm sorry, I lied.
What?
I'm not. When I started racing masters at the 30, I wasn't actually. I was 10 years old. I've lied about my age. I'm not 58.
58, Steve?
I'm not. I lied.
So you're at 58?
Why are you picking me?
Because
why didn't you pick why didn't you pick colleagues who bowled instead of someone who's like just a number?
I've picked you, Steve, because...
Is it a number?
No, because you can ride hard. I follow you. You still got loads of speed.
Thanks.
But I wondered about, how long have you been riding?
Since I was 4 years old. I've been riding off-road for 54 years.
Yeah?
I mean, I'll never forget my first left-hander in the dirt down the woods. Like, it's totally ingrained in my mind. I can go back there. I can relive that. I've been reliving that left-hand corner for 54 years.
So, I feel like I'm at a point now, and it's more, I don't feel like my age makes a big difference. I feel like it's accumulation of injuries. Have you had big injuries over the years?
Not as many as you, Don. I've had some injuries, yeah, and I think it does play a part when you're coming back. And when I used to be a downhill journalist as well, it always used to surprise me the people's different ability to come back from injury. Yeah. I think Steve Peters was an incredible athlete coming back from injury. I've seen him run a World Cup race where in practice his fingers are all the way over there, comes back and gets third place.
I've wondered about him as well.
That is a special mindset to have. But to answer your question, I've maybe been I've had some nasty ones. But for me, I think you know, I raced Masters Worlds at 51. I think it's like it's all about the adrenaline and being in the start. I mean, we can talk about riding, we can talk about racing, maybe two different things.
I was going to say, at 51, you know, do you think you decided to obviously not. If you're racing Masters World, you haven't tamed your riding down.
No, I basically woke up on January the 1st and the wife said to me, right, are you racing this? And literally I thought about that race. This is every day for 8 months. I was thinking Masters Worlds, I put everything into it. But, you know, you put everything into it, but nevertheless, you know, the fear of being in the start hut and the excitement of putting a run together in one of the hardest tracks in the world really does, you know, I could go and do it tomorrow. I absolutely love it.
On the day today now, I still follow you and I think you're still going really fast. But do you think, so even if you're thinking about riding the same, do you think your senses have dulled a little?
I think what it is your spatial awareness does change as you get older. And I think, you know, I think what's important to understand is that, you know, when I'm 4 years old, I think if you did a graph, and I've not done the graph, but I'd like to do the graph, your speed kind of increases until, you know, increases until you're probably, I don't know what, like 32 in downhill. And I think then what happens then, I think it just keeps there, because like I raced Trans-Provence when I was 43. I did
Physical races.
Physical races. I think I pretty much kept the speed there. I think it just kind of goes slightly. It does get slower because when I raced Masters Worlds when I was 51, when you compare, you know, obviously I did the national championships and your speed is 20 seconds faster than what it was 20 years previously. Yeah. But I think my riding has changed. I think getting into e-mountain bike, I think in terms of physicality and challenges I've done on two wheels, I've done harder things on e-mountain bikes physically than I did previously on mountain bikes.
I was going to ask that. I was going to say, do you
ask Louis?
Well, do you think you'd still be riding mountain bikes if e-bikes weren't around?
That's the hard question, isn't it? Really, and I think we're in a privileged position. I am, at least, because I feel so lucky to be able to ride e-mountain bikes, and because I come from like a trials background. The ability to take a mountain bike up into technical terrain, and it's so hard, it's so physical, and there's line choice, there's strategy, there's tire choices, tire pressures, all these different things. I find it massively exciting, and that certainly drives me as well, I think. But you know, the bottom line, Don, is that in terms of speed, and you're looking for this dulling of the feeling, I think you'll find on the last sitting of our creators and our fellow presenters who are younger than us, I think you'll still find that me and you were number one and number two. I hate to say you were first, but I was a close second in that last race we did, right? I
forgot about that.
It's true, right? I mean, we're up against 20-somethings.
And how long do you think you got left? 1 year, 2 years?
That thing is, you're getting into territory now. I'm happy to be alive.
Well, thanks to Steve for the insight. That's what I've got to look forward to. To put this into perspective a little bit, actually, I am a really similar age to Greg Minnaar, and I raced World Cup downhill alongside him for 10 years, but he started way earlier than I did, 3 years at least, I think, and he outlasted me by 15 at the end. So, you know, age is but a number for someone like Greg Minnaar. But ironically enough, I've got more in common with some of the young guns of World Cup downhill, because both Jackson Goldson and Jordan Williams have torn their ACLs in the last 12 months and they are in the recovery process. Same with Cade Edwards, so at least I'm in good company. They say that life begins at 40, but actually scientific studies say that peak muscle mass and performance for males is late 20s, early 30s, and marginally older for females. But for endurance athletes, the fall off in the 30s and 40s is much more gradual and not as steep. I had 2 weeks off the bike after that crash where I hurt my knee, but these last 8 weeks or so, I have been back riding with varying degrees of comfort. It does swell up occasionally in my knee. So I've already found myself kind of trying to change the way I ride a little bit. I've always really enjoyed trying to ride trails as fast as I could,
But more recently, I've been trying to calm things down and maybe ride them as smooth as I can, or even trying to keep my feet on the pedals through really technical sections. Frankly, I know I've been lucky. There are people with way worse injuries than me, life-changing in fact, and it is a tricky subject to talk about. But I've known Martyn since I was 18 and he was a mountain bike superstar. Of course he still is, but I've seen how his life is different now, and I'm still messing around on bikes and I've got responsibilities. So how do you know when to rein it in? I'm 43 now, but arguably I should have done it at least a few months ago. But I've got friends who are still riding hard in their 50s and people riding in their 70s still as well. So there is no age limit to mountain biking. So what's next for me? Well, first thing is knee surgery and obviously the recovery that comes with that. I was thinking about having a midlife crisis, but can't really afford the sports car. Some family time, of course, well, I'll be here quite a lot. And e-bikes, you know, you've probably seen me riding e-bikes on GMBN. Sometimes I really got into them because, well, I'm into gadgets, I'm into tech, and that's where all the tech is on mountain bikes at the moment, but also because I could get a really good ride in a short amount of time. And that's something I've had to do with kids, but also I've just learned to love those things. And that's the other thing. You won't be seeing me on GMBN. I'll be moving over to EMBN, our e-bike channel, which is new horizons. It's exciting for me, but also I'll be working with my old teammate, Steve Jones. And hopefully I can look back at this video in 10 years' time and think at 43, I was young and naive, I was still riding. And that's one of those things, you know, in Dirt magazine, when I was 21, I did an interview and they asked me what I'd be doing in the future. And I said, kind of naively, that I want to be a 70-year-old still doing 1-foot tables on the jumps. That seems kind of less likely now, but hopefully I'll be at least getting back out on the bike sometime soon and shredding a few turns. And you know what? It was actually my old mate, Steve Jones, who interviewed me in Dirt magazine.
Welcome back, you beautiful people. Well, this didn't go to plan. This is urban downhill racing at its finest. Oh, I'm out of breath.
I'm open Dog Fest this year and I'm bricking it for this. No, dude, I'm done. You're done? Me.
I've been invited out to Italy to take part in the third round of the Cerro Abajo urban downhill race in the beautiful coastal city of Genoa. This is now my second ever Red Bull race, and it's great to meet the team behind all these events again. But before I take you along for the ride with me on this weekend of step shaking, bone rattling, brain vibrating madness, let's go check out what the city's all about and figure out why Red Bull have chosen a steep hillside city as their venue to hold a mountain bike race.
Do you think this will fit in a Jeep? The size of it. V8 diesel. Whoa. More steps. More of them.
Oh, they're slippery, aren't they?
This event, this is the first time a Red Bull urban downhill race has happened in Europe. This is the first one in Genoa, so hopefully it'll come back. But it's nothing like Valparaiso, where I competed in 2019, which was a bit gnarly. This one's a little bit more tame, but still not for the faint-hearted. These steps and this terrain is totally different to what you'll be riding out there on the trail, where your tires work when it comes to grip. Digs into the dirt. There's nothing to dig in here, just a slide on. This is what this is. We are drifting down. More steps though. So we're out here, we're walking to the funicular, which is a bit finicky at the moment because it wasn't working earlier, but it is now 2:30 in the PM. We're heading up to the top for a 3:30 track walk. This is where I am going to count every single step on this track and have a nice round number at the end to show you. A bit of stat, you know? A bit of stat. First stat though, it's 2.2 kilometers long, which is quite long. Longer than Valparaiso. Valparaiso was like 1.2 or something, so it's like nearly double. That's fine. It's only 1,000 meters of sprinting. We're in a very busy funicular. I don't think there's any more room. Pretty much all the riders. Well, we've got South Africans, lots of South Americans, we've got some Italians, we've got Spanish, we've got Canadians, New Zealand. We're all out. It's like a party, right? It is like a party, a sweat party. It's a sweat box. Wow, look at this. Incredible view. Start gate, look at the state of this. This actually looks quite scary because the stairs we came up are slippery in wet. I reckon it's pretty tight here, Chana. Look at this.
So tight where all the people are. You take a kick left, but you could hit your hand real easily on that.
Hand, shoulder, everything. Use the wall as a berm.
It looks unreal.
Step number 1. 15 steps so far. We've got more steps to go. Look how tight this is. Straight through, bang, and then off a drop there.
Track tester.
Track tester. She's done really well. Hold on. Allez. Right, so we've done 52 steps into the first major feature. I say it's major, it's the biggest drop so far. We have a little one up there, which is a 3-meter gap, but it's like a wedge drop into a stair set, into another one, which you've got to slow down really quick into a left-hander, which comes into this feature, which is 2 meters, but it's not very big. Come with me. So there's a big landing up the top there. That's just a big flat cheese wedge. The back of it's going to be pretty much there, so you drop off onto it. So pretty chill. I would say it's pretty chill, but what's scary is coming into it. It's going to be not chill. This is literally flat out. So you've done the drop, you come off and you're onto this, and because it's weirdly spaced, your bike's can be so unbalanced, so you're pretty much not going to get much grip down on your tires because it's like 171, 172, 173, 174. Okay, well that's pretty cool. So we don't have to navigate through some posts, we jump over them. It's actually pretty cool, safer. But before we get there, look up there. It is literally flat out motorway section. Nice
Thanks
one.
a lot.
Nice to meet you, and thank you for marshalling.
How do you feel about the course so far?
I feel okay so far. I'm nervous, always get nervous because it's an event, so it's a race. You go fast. Yeah, we come off the shark fin, so you come down that real fast section of I don't know, street, into this sharky here, onto that big landing there, which will get put in front of that bridge. And by the look of that shark fin, I feel like it's going to fling you into the wall. But I think he's just going to go off and just push down. Scary. This section here, straight out of the shark fin, onto the pavement. It's going to be flat out on the bitumen, man, on the asphalt. This is where you're going to get your inner Valentino Rossi.
14-meter double.
14-meter double.
Sorry.
14-meter
double. Not
Big
many
time.
stairs though.
No, only a 200 so far.
Yeah.
200
Only.
says, only. Oof, 14 meters.
Yeah.
All right. Allez! Fast through here. This is pretty serious now. So we're jumping across the road. We're going to navigate our way through that really fast section up there, which is quite narrow. So judging your speed is going to be quite crucial. Into this really crazy step down over some railings, but there is going to be a landing over here where everyone is. They haven't built it yet, which is a bit crazy. We're doing a track walk and they can't really build everything because this is it's a living city. People are living here, so we don't want to jeopardize their way of life because we want to ride our bikes down it. We've got Bernard here, we've got Win, we've got Tio, we've got all these South Americans which literally are rapid. And yeah, and there's little old me looking at this going, what am I doing here? Now I'm nervous. Should we crack on? All right. Yeah. This is the first place where we get introduced to a lot of fans. Well, a lot of fans, a lot of spectators, because up there's nowhere to spectate on those really tight streets. What's your sketchiest bit?
Just those fast stairs.
Yeah.
Those are going to be,
Yeah.
It's like, if you no brake from the top, even if you're not pumping or doing anything crazy, you can do like 80 k's an hour.
Yeah. A bit like Valparaiso, where you jump out that building at the end of the finish line into the big finishing corral. This is what it feels like right here. Actually got goosebumps, dude, because that was a hell of a race. Scary for me, my first ever race I've ever done. This is my second one, and it's still no better, still hard. We've got some steps to finish off, so you ready? This will give you the result. If you did guess, the number is 564 steps. It's not that many, but there we go. 563 steps on this course. So if you were close, well done. There's the finish.
An idea.
Straight through off that, and we're done.
With the track walk done, it's time to get some rest and focus on practice tomorrow. I've really got to imagine how I'm going to get down this track. It's a different sport, urban downhill racing, and it can go wrong at any point. It's hard, it's rough, and it's super fast. Small mistakes will only mean big, big consequences.
Right, it is practice now. The weather has started to come in, which is not great because this place turns into an absolute ice rink. But the cool thing is, right, we've got FSA here that's helping out with all the athletes. Down the bottom, there's going to be a zone here to work on your bike, zone at the top, zone at the hotel. So there's zones everywhere. So your bike is in pristine working order.
It's actually a huge thanks that I'm out here at this race to FSA. They have supplied me with their brand new EMTB certified wheels, the Carbon I-29s, built to withstand more than just your regular wheel set. With an artisan build, entirely by hand and an alloy PRA hubs. They should hold up to everything I'm going to be throwing at them this weekend in the city.
Windy, wet situation, so thanks for coming. I'll see you tomorrow. The free riding session will be tomorrow morning.
Practice is cancelled. Not good, because everything's now on race day, which is pretty scary. It's raining still. But we're gonna go down and see how slippery it is, and we'll see you at the bottom. Remy, we chilling? I want to see how slippery this is gonna be. Woo!
Follow me, I show you.
Okay.
Rolling. Go, good.
Go on, Chana. Oh, this is not nice. Yeah, this is horrible. Oh, nice.
Really f***ing savage, bro.
Wait, it's like 30 foot to your death below.
Yeah, you definitely want to go in the middle.
Yeah.
Hey, Remy, what do you think of it? It's alright.
It's bigger.
That's the type of I like to ride, but like it's too long.
Yeah,
just at least for the first try. It's too long.
Okay, my perception is different. I've just come from Rampage, so everything looks different.
Everybody looks.
Can you make it bigger, please?
Yeah, can you make it down to over there, please?
I think when it's right, it's gonna ride really well.
Watch out,
I feel like.
Be careful.
Yeah, you're gonna do it. Sorry. It's super easy.
Yeah, it's easy, yeah.
It's so slippery. Oh, I just don't want to turn on it. Mate. Dude, this is crazy. This is slippery as frick. That's fast.
I was like, how
No.
It
looks like just a drop.
Yeah, it does. Not often where you can't see the landing at all. Like that's like knuckle stairs.
You can definitely overjump that, for sure.
Overjumping that would be really horrible.
Oh, what do you think?
If it wasn't like this,
Yeah, it's literally like this.
because you can't see the landing.
Yeah.
So if it was like slanted case pad, or just
Yeah.
like extended landing.
Yeah.
I reckon I do.
How sick is this? This is actually all right.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to hit it? No.
No, okay.
This is the bumpiest bit. No, this is disgusting. Oh. Oh. Ah! Oh, that's... Yep.
Is that it?
And flip that.
Flip that. Set up. So unfortunately today was cancelled because of the weather. It's been super rainy. It's raining still now. Tomorrow's going to be an incredible busy day. We got practice for an hour, then we got to do some seeding, and then we got finals. So it's all on the plate tomorrow. So we're going to chill. We're going to chill tonight. Everyone's down here. We're in the bar. We're chilling. We're chilling. Race day. This is going to be experience because we haven't really tested the track out. We haven't tested the obstacles, but we've got a couple of minutes to do so now, an hour or so. And hopefully the wind, because it was absolutely windy last night, is dry the track up. So let's go, cold turkey. Let's do it. They're just testing. These are the test mule. Well, I would say the guinea pigs. Where's it finished?
I'm learning how to ride street races.
Yeah,
I've been finished morning of the race.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
You stand there as blind as dude, it's kind of scary. He didn't make that less nerve-wracking. He made it look hectic.
I don't like looking at people test stuff. I'd rather do it.
He was flying into it.
Yeah. It's just nerves. Nerves kick in every time. I always say, every time I get just to the race line, start line, nerves kick in. The amount of whispers going around right now is crazy. What you viewers don't see is how nervous everyone is right now. Everyone, like, these guys are top riders in the world for Downhill World Cup, and they're scared of racing down some steps. I'm just like, whatever. Let's just ride my bikes. Let's ride bikes. Why are we here? Oh, look at them. Look, everyone's saying, why are we here? What are we doing? I think we just where our bikes are. Yeah. Like half a crank, roll on little top. Yeah. Yep. I don't want to hit the Sharky.
Do I want to follow leg down?
Well, you can follow me if you want. Or follow Bernard. I'll follow you. You look good. Yeah.
Follow you down.
You boys good?
Yeah.
Winded, mate. Winded, okay, Charles, I got you. We got you. He's just winded, he's communicating. You're alright, bro, you're alright. Breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. Okay, he's just breathing. He's alright. He's just winded for now.
That was savage, bro.
Yeah, time, take your time.
Oh, chest.
Where is the pain? Just in my chest a little bit. Okay, okay.
Oh, Taylor, what's happened to Blake? Oh, really? You haven't heard anything?
Well, just Bernie told me saying in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, usually. We were all just trying to chase that first left shark fin off the bridge. Bernie, Blake, me, and then like 4 other riders behind me. And as Blake went off, I think he maybe just went off a bit too high, and he got like stuck weird, and then landed skew and just head smacked on the floor. And then he was out for a bit. Because I landed behind him, I just stopped. The GoPro will be hilarious. I'm like mounting on top of him, and because there were just riders smashing into me because it's like a 5-man train. And then he was just winded for a bit. He was like, "Argh!" Okay, a while he was winded. And then I think he got a bit knocked out because he asked what happened about 5 times. He came to and he was like, yeah, I'm feeling better. And then they just put him on the backboard precautionary and took him down. But he seemed like he was all good. I think he just like landed and bang on the ground. But he took it like a champ.
Was that the first time he hit it?
Yeah. Well, he's a fucking strong boy for surviving that. Really.
Yes. Like I said at the beginning, this did not go to plan. I took a bit of a tumble, but these things happen in the sport. Now, I've absolutely loved this. Now, this is my second urban downhill race. The first one was Valparaiso, as you've seen a few clips from that in previous years, but wow, I actually loved the whole experience right up till I hit the ground. And a big thanks to Theo and Bernard for looking after me on the floor. Theo covering me whilst other riders just piled into me. This is just a small glimpse of what it takes to race urban downhill racing. It is unreal fast. The consequences are really high, but it is super fun. And I was well looked after by Christina from Red Bull. She looked after me everywhere. And I say big thanks to Red Bull and FSA Wheels for helping me race this race. And I look forward to coming back. Congratulations to Slavik for taking the win. This sport is not for the faint-hearted. It's bloody fun. I absolutely loved it all the way till I hit the floor. I definitely will be back if they want me to come back. Big thanks to all the Cerro Abajo team. What a great show. And hopefully I'll see you soon. I need a cup of tea. I need to stop talking. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give us a thumbs up, like, and I'll see you later. See ya.